No saying the F word. That's a great rule to start with. Listen, y'all.
BRB.
No saying the F word.
I'm going to show you a pic.
Okay. Can I ask a community question? Sure, Charlie Sky. Put it in all caps. That way I have a better chance of seeing it. Absolutely. Why is that fan pointed that way?
y'all.
Can you please point that fan this
I
way?
will point that fan towards you.
It's hotter than HE double hockey sticks. What's up, coal miner daughter?
It is hot.
Yeah, it is hot. I need 900% DEET right now as well. 5x9. Thanks, Andy Barnes. Yeah, like gauze.
You've got to warn next time.
Asymmetrical preparedness. What's up, brother? I think half of that got in my drink.
I was going to
and
say,
I don't care. It is
breathe it
hot. What's up, Kimberly Thornton? Yes, it is hot. It's hot everywhere. You know what? Shalom, lovely Dudley. You know what we should do now? Now let's all talk about gas prices next. Yes, it is hot.
I got a little bit of sticker shock because, like, you know, I haven't driven much of anywhere because my car's been in the shop, and I've been driving a, like, fairly rickety vehicle itself in its replacement, and so I haven't, like, really spent much money on gas at all. Like, maybe $30 in the past 3 weeks. And he was filling up today, and I saw, like, how many gallons I would typically be filling my car up with.
Because I got a big truck. It takes more.
It was already at $100, and
Oh, easy.
I was like, good golly,
That looks
this
great.
is
It's fine.
ridiculous.
That looks great.
So it's normal.
I got my first, like, gas price kind of sticker shock.
Yeah, and you know what? To a certain extent, that's awesome that you are that insulated from the system.
It is,
That
yeah.
for weeks this has been an issue, and today, double tapping hillbilly, freeze drying. it
Today,
this
I'm
week.
like,
today
oh,
you were
snap.
like, oh
Gas
wow,
is
high. That's how you know you're prepping right, when your wife is clueless about what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlie Sky said, what would you do when you discover someone in the community is not what they seemed? I would address that person directly, one-on-one. Matthew chapter 18 lays this out. I would go to them first, and I would rebuke them. And also, BT dubs, there's a difference between I don't like this and this is unrighteous. That's super important to understand, because there's lots of things I don't like that aren't unrighteous per the word. I just don't like them. And so a matter of opinion is different than a matter of unrighteousness. But I would rebuke them first, have a conversation with them first, and say, hey, this is an issue. If they don't receive that, the Torah and Messiah are both perfectly clear on this. And in fact, we're working off the words of Messiah in Matthew 18. Then you go with 2 or 3 witnesses, and you rebuke them again. And if they don't receive that, they shall be to you like the nations and the tax collector. You bring it to the assembly, not to determine guilt or innocence, because that's already been done in step 2, with the mouths of 2 or 3 let a thing be established. You bring it to the assembly to make it known to the assembly that, hey, we spoke with this person twice, it's not on the up and up, and we don't think we should have anything to do with them anymore. What's up, Ed? Snowbird, the Iridium Group. So that's what I would do. Also, if you have qualms about somebody now, they're not going to get better as things get more and more difficult.
No, it's just
Okay.
going to make you more mad. The more, like, repeat offenses that there are.
Thank you, Sam Waite. Thank you very much.
Your blood's just going to end up boiling.
Yep.
Or getting to the point of boiling. And then it's definitely not going to be a good situation.
It's also important to point out that when you rebuke somebody, reproof and instruction is always done in love. And that's difficult. It's not enjoyable, both for the reproving party and the receiving party, but it's always done in love. And if you can't do it in love, then you need to check your heart. Unless we're talking about a millstone situation here, where they're like hurting children or something like that, the Torah is very straightforward on that. Rock to the forehead. You pull a King David on them. So, what's up, Bo Taylor? So, that's what I would do. That's what we have done in the past. And it's not enjoyable, but it is what it is. And better to deal with it now than to let it fester and grow.
Okay. Somebody asked if there were unbelievers in the mag.
in our mag?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Asymmetrical's asking how's the garden
Because
doing.
Mm-hmm.
that's what keeps all of our perspectives the same. Like, we literally have a book that we fall back on. It's not how I think, what I feel, we go to the book. And so everybody has to have a complete and full understanding of the book in order for this to work.
And you have to be willing to submit to the authority of the Most High rather than your own.
Amen.
What did Yah say about this? What did the creator of the universe say about this? Because I'm going to go out here on a limb and say he probably knows more about peopling than I do since he made us. And he wrote the user manual, right? So he was the engineer. You know, if the Mercedes is busted, you could spin all the wrenches you want on it, or you can go to Hans in Berlin that designed it and ask him, right? Like Hans probably knows more about the Mercedes than you do, right? So, asymmetrical preparedness asked how the garden's doing. You want to answer that?
It's doing pretty good. Like, I still, it's a constant battle and a constant job to plant everything, and like I have a lot of plants, so I have my backyard's pretty full, and so we have our sheep field that the sheep have since been moved out of, and so I am literally digging holes out there.
Us
and
too,
sticking
double
plants.
tapping hillbilly squash bugs thick over here. Amen.
Because my garden area is pretty full.
Yep, but it's going.
It's going.
Good job.
It's growing. We're starting to get stuff. So I'm happy.
Bear, is it okay to store food in a barn in buckets? Yes, as long as they're appropriately stored in the buckets.
One dry good,
dry goods, yes. Food in buckets is good to go outside up to about 120 degrees, and that's wheat only. Above 120 degrees, the gluten in the wheat starts to break down, which means when you make bread with that wheat, it's going to have less gluten protein in it, so it's going to be more porridgey rather than bread-y. But other than that, the freeze thaw and the high temperature is good for it because that kills off any larvae that could be in there, any eggs that could be in there. So it's actually good for it. So not an issue. Up to 120 degrees, not an issue. I would not recommend like in a Connex box, a sea or land container, shipping container, because it gets dumb hot inside of those. So do you freeze wheat before sealing in buckets? No. We use diatomaceous earth on the wheat, which negates the need to freeze it. And frankly, and this is not a prepper flex, but the volume of wheat that we buy at a time would severely preclude our ability to freeze it. We buy wheat at a minimum by the ton, and it's several tons at a time. We're getting back to community because you get what's called an economy of scale when you buy in volume. The more you buy, the less it costs per pound. And we are blessed with enough people that it makes sense to go get 10,000 pounds. It makes sense to go get 10,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds of wheat at a time. So that's what we do.
Somebody asked if it was growing well, if the garden was growing well, and how do you deal with the heat? So the garden's growing well. I've got pretty much like blossoms and like beginning fruits everywhere. We just haven't gotten like the abundance yet. Because it's been really hot here, y'all. And so again, how do we deal with the heat? Well, fortunately enough for us, when planting my garden, our property gets so much shade. I had to purposely, meticulously take out certain trees in order to light up our backyard. So we have a lot of dappled sun and shady areas around our property, and that's one of the nice things about container gardening is you can move that. So if you notice that your plant is getting stressed because of the heat, a lot of plants will actually tolerate partial sun. So I tend to move those into shadier areas, and then if I notice they are lacking or suffering because of too much shade, I can always move them back into a more sunny spot. But I'm not stuck.
Jake wanted to know if I'm for real, and the answer is no. I am a figment of your imagination, Jake. This is all make-believe.
Somebody said that you and your wife's eyes say the same thing.
Did they say?
What did they say?
Very busy day full of difficult conversations. Hey, Perma Pastures, what's up, bro? Shalom, brother. That's Billy Bond that I met at SOE Tactical Headquarters this weekend at the Self-Reliance Expo. He's phenomenal. What are y'all dying about over there?
Stop stuck in my teeth. And so I'm like,
In the camera.
on the camera.
Nerds. Billy Bond, he's the real deal. We were up on stage. We were doing the expert panel Q&A at the end of the day. And
Posse's here.
the posse's here. And I've never met Billy before in my life. Like, never laid eyes on him the whole nine. And we're up there talking on stage, and I'm standing next to him, and I'm like, man, everything this guy says is like good to go. And you know when you just stand near somebody, you can feel their vibe. I'm like, this guy has a good vibe. Like, he's got a good vibe. And so, good dude. Somebody asked, what are we smoking tonight? And again, I'm not telling you that you should smoke cigars, but I'm gonna. This is a Perdomo Reserve Maduro 10-year anniversary box pressed. And I love it. Shalom, y'all. How art thou?
Thou art good. Thanks for asking.
Tremendoso. Mucho tremendoso.
Mucho tremendoso.
Love it.
Thanks so much.
We all have a house church. Yeah, so here's the thing. The church is not the building. The church is the people, the body of Messiah. And so, yeah, we have a house church in that we fellowship at, pick a household. We get together and that's literally what we do. We pick a household. And it's like, hey, or usually somebody will volunteer. They're like, hey, how about everybody comes to my house this weekend? And praise the Father, we're getting to the point where it's like we're starting to get to the point where you need to have a certain capacity at your house in order to be able to host.
Yeah, we're not doing it in my house.
Yeah, we're not doing it at your house. Your house is
I mean,
already
in the
full.
fall, like
Yeah.
outside.
640 square foot for tribe is not.
I mean, there's walls and stuff in there too. It's not
Yeah,
like-
that's yeah. It ain't empty.
There's a bed.
so-
There's a bed. The fact that there's 6 people in 640 square feet.
Yeah. So for everybody that's like bitching and complaining, I just can't move out of the city. You don't understand. Forrest and Katie Lynn did it with 4 kids, 3 of which are like almost full-blown adults. They're like full-grown teenagers.
They're sniffing at
They're
it.
people-sized, not little people-sized. In a shed-to-cabin conversion that's a 16 by 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. So suck it up, Buttercup. Heath was wearing a shirt yesterday I loved, and it says, excuses are for losers.
Oof.
And I was like, oh, I love that. What's up, NWA Prepper? I have it. FFO. Oh, yeah, I got it now. I read it in the wrong order. I like that.
He just likes that it says phone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's F around and find out.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes, the chicken does have a nest in the outhouse. It has laid a clutch of eggs in there, which is why we keep this door right over here open so that the chicken can come and go from its clutch of eggs to be broody and sit on the eggs. So,
She is broody.
Shalom Dudley. Still stuck on my Oliva. That's good stuff, Hillbilly. It's good stuff.
No.
She's only got to mark on the table.
Why the?
Oh, the same one.
Damian Fries, you do amazing work and have a heart of gold. Bless you. Thank you. Praise the Father, man. Spartan No Negative. Thank you. Shabba-dabba-dabba-da.
Oh wait. Okay. I get it.
Newbie here just found a couple of weeks ago. Thank you. At least he's not climbing on the tables anymore. So this is legitimately an airsoft pistol. Okay. See how it has the orange tip on the end of it? Yes, this is a 1911 magazine-fed airsoft pistol. And this is a great way to convince chickens to not be on the porch. Love it.
It's freaking nice.
Yeah, it's why I have it. Here you go.
Fondle it.
Fondle it. Fondle it up, Bob.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
A safety
it's
even
like a
works. Yeah, it's
1911.
literally a 1911.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it wasn't terribly expensive, and I was like, I like that thing. I'm gonna shoot chickens with it. So. How much did that orange tip run you? I think about 50 bucks. And what I like about it is it actually has a good pellet speed. I have one that was like 25 bucks. It's like spring loaded. You got to cock it after every shot. And it works, but the chickens are more like they'll look at you and question their existence and then go back to doing what they were doing when you shoot them with that. You shoot them with a 1911, they run away babak-baking. So James Lopez said, Shalom, beans and rice, Marlar bags, buckets, and non-climate controlled wood sheds. Is this an issue? James, we were just talking about this. By the way, I won your last beard contest. Are you going to have another? Oh yeah, you did. You know, I might. I don't know. I don't feel like beating all y'all into the ground. Yeah, we've only ever had one. So buckets in ambient temperature, good to go. I'll repeat this again super quick because you super chatted. So here's the deal. Buckets in ambient temperature below up to 120 degrees, non-issue. Past 120 degrees, if you have wheat in buckets, the gluten proteins will start to break down and you will make a gruel, not bread. Otherwise, ambient conditions are actually good for it, especially if you live in a place where it's going to freeze, because the freeze thaw will mitigate the growth of any bugs / larvae that's in there. So it's a good thing, good to go. And you will have no degradation in the quality of food below 120 degrees. Does that include rice? Yes, Carrie Stennett, it does. Corn, rice, wheat, beans, all good to go. Yes, Jake, I've seen that. Oh yeah, by the way, we're up to 43 lives saved. Yeah. Taborosaurus Rex, what's up, brother? 43 lives saved to date, not 42. 6-car pileup. Tourniquet to the drum roll, please. Femoral artery, same methodology, 1/2 of all of the lives saved. Tourniquet to the leg, femoral artery bleed. It's almost as if there's like a pattern here or something, and if you have blood in your body and you breathe air, you should have a trauma first aid kit. Almost as if, you know.
That checks out.
That checks out. Fo says that checks out. What's up, Romans?
Good to go.
Whoa.
Are we on this again?
So if you're new here, ask your question in all caps, and the primary rule is be cool to everybody else in the chat. Okay? Don't be an a-hole. We're not very good for tolerating a-holes around here. Best company for bulk food. Man, it depends. It depends on how you define food. If you're talking grains, Trinidad Benham, Benham, is a good resource. If you're talking like food products, webstaurantstore.com. What's up, Duck? Shalom, brother. Thank you. Webstaurantstore.com. And what you will realize very quickly is, man, none of this is cheap. Nope, not cheap at all, but it's available. And welcome to the world of scarcity. Cheap is not a thing anymore. It's available is the primary issue now. So as a big man, is a soft tee tourniquet, is it a best fit? Probably yes. Yeah, but you need to train. You need to train with any tourniquet, but you need to train more so with a soft tee because it's less intuitive. Still an excellent product, but it's less intuitive than a cat is. Are Home Depot buckets with the rubber seal good for food storage like rice? Yes. However, you need to put them in Mylar bags because those buckets themselves are not food safe. Lots of bucket questions tonight, man.
People wanting to prep food or something?
Right,
Is something happening?
It's like, I don't know. Is
Maybe
something
time to
happening?
pop
I
up
don't
that
know.
food calculator again.
Oh, you
Probably
mean
been
like
like a
you
year.
mean like if you're on Patreon and you just click the tab on Patreon and it takes you over to where all the documents and the food storage calculator is? As
You mean
if,
there's a
like-
resource to
As
calculate
if
your
like
food
I already
needs?
figured all of that out years ago, and then I put it on Patreon for less than $5 a month. In addition to like 2,400 exclusive videos and live streams, you know, no. Own the Bear Factory 3.0 and waiting for my Boo Boo Kit to arrive, planning to get the Adventure 2.0 next. Thank you, Jeff James. I
Heck
appreciate
yeah.
that.
You want a red one? Should get one today.
If you want a red what?
If you want a red adventure kit, you should
They're
get
in
one
right now.
today.
My staff is saying if you want a red adventure kit, you should get it today. So,
Were they in?
do y'all have a recommended press for oils? I do not currently. Any of y'all press any oils? No,
No.
we do not.
Don't really grow olives. And that's my
me
main
either.
oil. So.
I like to do the dancing in the bucket filled with grapes to make wine thing.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's fun.
gotta get that
Do your
video.
feet fit in a bucket?
No, my feet do not fit in a bucket. My feet are rather large, so get this stomp bag. It's got just about everything. Yes, it does. It's almost so. There's a company whose name rhymes with My Medic that came out with a very similar product to the stomp bag that is now saying it's like a hospital on your back. Like I've been saying for 2.5 years. It's almost as if somebody is gonna get a contact from an attorney or something for
You know what-
saying things like that. What's up, Justin
You know what
Ridley?
it doesn't have though?
What does it
What
not
ours
have?
has.
Oh, what's
Ours
that?
has that additional blowout kit you can put in the side pocket.
That's true. You
I
know
was
what? You know what else it doesn't
Here
have?
it is.
Any real world practical application because it's an absolute piece of shit because My Medic made it.
Does it even
I mean,
have a cat
Now,
tourniquet?
this is me
No, it
not
doesn't.
This is not me slandering as the owner of Refuge Medical. This is me pontificating as the influencer Bear Independent. Because we are on the Bear Independent channel.
Should we get one for review?
No, I'm not spending another dime on My Medic stuff. I bought that one kit, their advanced MyFac, absolute trash. Costs as much as a Bear Fac, and it's absolute
You
trash.
can find out if someone bought one to review, and then we just kick them off the channel.
What is one move I can do to end a street fight quickly? Break contact,
Yep.
pull your pistol out, and shoot for the central nervous system. Or don't get into the fight in the first place.
Yeah, break contact. The first part.
Throat punch.
Throat punch. The headbutt. The headbutt's a famous move. I've ended 2 fights with a headbutt.
Oh, kick him. Just do that kick
Straight
in the
up
thigh
the
that
headbutt.
Dudley does. That would.
Oh, Douglas. Oh, Douglas.
Oh, Douglas. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
He follows Christ. Screw the Torah.
Goodbye, Douglas.
Does he not know that Christ did that also?
You should maybe read the Bible.
Bye,
Chuck-
Douglas.
Chuck-
We're all like, bye, Douglas. Bye.
Like, yeah.
So,
Screw the
here's
Torah.
thing.
Tell that to Messiah at the end of the age and see how that goes.
Everybody's welcome to believe whatever they want. What you can't do is talk shit. You don't get to be an asshole. That's all.
it. The Dutch kick.
You don't get to be an
That's
asshole.
Dudley's move.
So,
I changed my name.
I like
Yeah, we
George is
noticed.
Like,
I like
see
it.
some trolls on this fine
Yeah, go panda.
yes, DH, we've seen Lake City will no longer be allowed to sell surplus ammo to the public, approximately 30% of the 5.56 in some markets. Yes, I'm pretty sure we are all also subscribed to Jared at Guns and Gadgets. If you're not, you probably should be. Excellent channel, great guy. Scarcity. Guys, you're talking about little micro indicators. I've been telling you the overarching macro strategic picture for years. Do not get caught up on the little tiny things. Oh my gosh, 30% reduction in 5.56 ammo. Dude, see the forest for the trees.
I conceal a bear at 50 cal.
What's up, Billy Hill? I can see what?
I conceal. Somebody asked me, what do you conceal with big hands? Like, how do you? And he said, I conceal a bear at 50 cal.
So, do you have big hands and a small waist? Or are they both big? Because that depends.
Do you have big legs? Like, that's a long gun.
Somebody
No, it's
said,
somebody else answering
what is
him.
the drink of the day, Mrs. Barry?
Oh, it is Sprite, Apple Crown, and
Pomegranate?
Raspberry liqueur. So,
Somebody said Quick Clot or Celox. Eric said, at
One
this
you
point,
can
whichever
buy.
one you can get. And insider baseball, Quick Clot's been bought out and their prices are going to double over the next 2 years. This is Bear the influencer speaking, not the CEO of Refuge Medical. This is Bear the influencer speaking. We are not on the Refuge Medical channel right now.
Yeah, and
so
this is Bear, not TJ Morris. So
that's
like-
correct.
This
It's
is
just
all-
Bear talk.
It's all persona.
Is running power underground worth the extra cost? Well, gosh dang, we need more details than that, John James. What are you talking about?
Where do you live?
Yeah,
What's your weather
what's the
like?
terrain?
do a pocket dump. No.
We have a video for that. Don't worry, sometime.
Hollow point preferred defensive round. 9mm, 147 grain plus P jacketed hollow points from freedomammunitions.com. I really like a lot. And 9mm, and then spear gold dots in 45. And then any other round, you're probably just wrong. So, inspect yourself, figure that out.
We determined tonight when we open Roche's, I'm the bartender.
You go broke.
Liberty wants to do that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
A
lot of people talking about bartending
Uh-huh.
today.
We can totally do that.
It'd be like
QRF
full-on,
said,
like cocktail movie.
If
like,
you've been in preparedness for more than a
Someone
year and
bottles
are
to each other.
panicking,
Yeah.
you're doing it wrong.
Facts.
I agree.
Facts.
I agree. Barry, do you think or foresee any possible attacks on America to this point coming up July
I
4th?
see a possible day tomorrow.
So, let me first rebuke you on your terminology, and I'm doing this with love. Possible is not the appropriate term. All things are possible. It's possible that the Pleiadians land their spacecraft in that hayfield right over there, and we do a reactive contact drill where we start shooting Grays in the forehead with 5.56
Gang, gang.
before we rack them up, and the Black Hawk lands so we can get that CIA money, because I need a pallet of cash to make shit happen around here. Okay? That's possible.
Possible to-
Is that
that's my
plausible? Negative. Very non-plausible.
Sucks that it's not.
It's I mean, it is possible though. It is possible, right?
I feel like we should write welcome in the field or something.
Yeah, it was like, we'll get out there. And
We start doing crop signals and
I was
stuff.
just gonna
There's
say,
some
haven't
energy
you
out
seen
there.
that?
Yeah.
Those,
I mean,
Signs.
this is a possibility.
no,
like,
they
let's,
had a
like,
whole
make 'em
bunch
feel
of like
welcome.
Then we shoot 'em with the
documentaries on the History
Right.
Channel at one point. How the dudes in Great Britain were faking crop circles, like a board with ropes. They're just.
Yeah.
We just go do that. We make a nice crop circle. They land. We ambush them. Right.
Yeah. Simple
Yeah,
L-shaped
I'll
ambush.
hold, you sweep. We
Yep,
got
there we
this.
go.
We got this, man.
It's like
Four-man
reverse
assault
Mars
crew
attack.
moves through, cleans it
Yeah,
up. There we
actions on the
go.
objective.
Oh, yep, they got him.
Renee
Bring
will be
send it.
admitting. Yeah. We'll hit her on the radio. Be like, hit send on the email.
Yeah. She
Um,
hits send. 45 seconds later, we hear the rotary wings.
Oh yeah. Katrina
the
Flaws
shit?
just got the adventure bag. It's awesome. Thank you so much. So, possible versus plausible. All things are possible. Not all things are plausible. Is it plausible that there are attacks on July 4th, Independence Day? Yeah, totally. Absolutely. DHS and BT dubs. We need to talk about this at some point. Maybe tomorrow on the brief, maybe tonight, we'll see. DHS has heightened their threat level, warning of attacks in crowded areas and in groups with people of faith and in schools and institutions and government offices and blah, blah, blah.
It was like everything.
It's everything.
Like-
So, yeah, is it possible? Yes. Is it plausible? I still think the answer is potentially yes. I don't know. Everywhere, orchestrated attacks on 4 July 22? No. Isolated? Yes. Where is that going to be the most likely? Most likely, high population density areas. Because terrorism is when you use violence for political gain, and so you want as much violence as possible. Additionally, what would that actually be? That would be an attack on American citizens that are showing their support for the traditional American values and the founding of this country. So who's the most likely candidate to perpetuate those attacks? And if you said leftist shadow governance, you're correct. So, yeah.
Somebody asked if you would be interested in making a good construction
We do.
kit.
Good construction type first aid kit.
Yeah.
We make plenty of good construction type first aid kits.
Just need to add some of these to it.
Yeah. The adventure bag would be where I would start. And then more insider baseball. I mean, again, not as the CEO of Refuge Medical, as Bear Independent, the influencer. Because I can say things like this. OSHA, by the way, anybody, listen up, anybody, if you're in the trades or if you're in manufacturing or if you're in any type of industry where there's OSHA oversight, which by the way is pretty much all of you, listen up. OSHA is changing their statute by the end of this year. All industries with high rates of and incidental rates of amputation, whether that's blast amputation, mechanical amputation, whatever. So this is manufacturing, construction, tree work, logging, shipbuilding, oil field, trucking, dirt work and excavation, etc., etc., etc. Okay, where people can get lacerated or have stuff cut or ripped off of them. All of these industries are now required to have an OSHA Type B first aid kit that contains a tourniquet. Okay? And so you need to do that. And the employer must provide adequate training in the use of that tourniquet, which means you need to get trained from your employer in order for them to be in OSHA compliance. Shalom, Oki. And we looked at the market, and the number one kit on the market for this, the tourniquet, is a 1-inch piece of stretchy rubber. It is a venous tourniquet used for running IV fluids. It is not a windlass tourniquet used for arterial bleeding. Do your kits meet this standard? Not only do they currently meet this standard, it's almost as if the CEO of Refuge Medical, now I can't speak on his behalf because right now I'm Bear the influencer, but it's almost as if the CEO of Refuge Medical stormed into his office yesterday and assembled everybody on the executive team, and Bob had already started using the windows as whiteboards, and we already have a kit in development that should be completed by the beginning of next week that will not just meet the OSHA standard, vastly exceed the OSHA standard. And it's not a good idea that we had. We know that it will do the job. And by the way, we will roll that kit out. It's called the Ox. But before we roll the Ox out, the Adventure Kit right now already does all that. Now, I'll be the first one to acknowledge the Adventure Kit is an investment, right? And I'm not going to say it's expensive. It's an investment. It's an awesome kit. Are you raising your hand because you want to say something or because you're injured? Okay, the second, got you. All right. The Adventure Kit is an investment, but it will satisfy all the requirements of the OSHA Type B First Aid Kit. And do not cheap out on the existing kits on the market, because the tourniquets they include are not tourniquets for arterial bleeding. They're venous tourniquets that you would use in a hospital setting for running IVs. That is not a pre-hospital setting.
Yeah, they draw blood or whatever.
That little blue band.
That's it. And
that's not a tourniquet. That's not what we're talking about.
The fact that they keep
and
the word tourniquet is.
Yeah, venous constriction band, good for IV, bad for trauma. Exactly, Snowbird. So, but that's coming. And honestly, I am not a fan of government oversight, but I have for 2 years been praying to the Father that that tourniquets in the construction industry would catch on, and they're now going to be required. And by the way, the specification is there needs to be the ability to render aid within 3 to 4 minutes of any single person on site. Now, if you know anything about arterial bleeding, that's too far away.
Yep.
So you need to take the number of kits that you should have to buy in order to satisfy that requirement and double it, if not triple it. They need to be within a couple of minutes. And if in certain industries, in certain situations, you need to have them on you. If you're a tower climber, if you're a steel erector, you need to have that on you. You're not getting, or if you're a crane operator, you're not getting down onto the ground in a couple of minutes. You will bleed out and die before that happens. So those kits need to be mounted in the vehicle. They need to be in the cab of the crane, or they need to be on you, on your climbing harness, on you. So, but yeah, that's all coming. And praise Yah, we don't operate with debt as a household or as a company, which means that we can pivot and we can do stuff pretty quick on the fly. So.
And our Adventure Kit, like you said, like far exceeds it already.
Way.
Because the Ox Kit doesn't have chest seals in it.
Correct.
Like there's some major things that you'd be
Yep.
like, if you really want
So,
to do it, just get an
We're gonna
adventure
come
kit.
out with an Ox A and an
Yeah.
Ox B, right? And it'll probably be the Ox B, the Ox Basic, and the Ox A, Ox Advanced. And the Ox Advanced will be a lot like an adventure kit in a Pelican case. The Ox B, the Ox Basic, will be the minimum requirements per the code for OSHA for those companies that need to check the box to be in compliance. But again, I'm telling you, if you work in an industry overseen by OSHA, not only does the employer have to provide the kits, they have to provide adequate training on how to use the tourniquet. There, fire departments included in that. Yes, they are. So are local governments. So are tribes. So are trucking companies. And by tribes, I mean like the Indian tribes, right? Native American. Cool, I'm one too. I can call whatever the hell I want. All right?
Lol.
Yeah. What?
I said lol.
Lol,
LOL.
right? Yeah. We the people are the government. Well, let's quit electing assholes then, okay? Sir.
Then be the government, bro. Like, stop answering to tyrants. Go form your own systems. Go be independent of that. If you are the government, then be the government. Stop asking for permission if you are the government. The government doesn't ask you permission, right? So go do the thing then, man. Like, that's my take on it. That's what I got to say about it. Sorry. I've been seeing so much of that shit. We're the government, okay? So
Act
then
like
be
it.
it. The dudes that are acting like the government don't say that. It's the guy in the bar who talks about how tough he is and gets knocked out on the first punch. And I'm not being a jerk to that guy because I'm sure it's coming from a really genuine place of frustration.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's a matter about moving forward. I didn't see chest seals on the website. Hey, listen, a lot of components, can't get them right now. So we had a guy wrote in a few weeks ago, was talking to Fo, was like, hey, can I get some Quick Clot? Sure can. Comes with a bear fact. Nope, I just want to buy a Quick Clot. Me too. I just want to buy Quick Clot too. Comes with a bear fact.
$269.
That's just the way it is right now.
Tourniquets, chest seals, quick cut.
Yep. So, and even though right now I'm not the CEO of Refuge Medical, I'm Bear the influencer, I can't tell you about the conversation I had earlier today with a major medical component company. It ain't good, y'all.
Oh.
It ain't good. We might be starting a restaurant next week. Get it while you can get it. So,
It's like, it's going to be a super fire restaurant.
oh, it's gonna be the best
It's
restaurant. Yep.
It's gonna be awesome.
All the way dope.
We always said we would.
There are a lot of other options you can use as a chest seal if a commercial is not available. That is correct. However, purpose-built chest seals rock. I can do a lot of stuff with very little, but I much prefer to have purpose-built components. So, yes, Harry Hall, I am in fact Bear Grylls. You caught me.
No, I think they meant the restaurant name.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe.
No, it's Moshe's.
That's
We
a
said
lie.
this from
That's
like
a lie.
the beginning.
Yeah,
Lawsuit ready to
Moshe's. Moshe's Clean Eats.
Hold on. RL, you said NAR got hacked 4/2 to 4/28. Keep an eye out on your bank account. If you have actual intel, email that to admin at Bear Independent. If you have some sort of real intelligence saying that, email us. Admin at Bear Independent. So that.
I agree.
Like somebody said,
Otherwise,
restaurant special.
don't talk shit.
Lasagna.
Yeah.
You could serve lamb. Oh, Isaac, what do you think we're going to be serving? You
Lamb.
could serve lamb? We're going to do one a day, first come,
Lamb
first
lasagna.
serve, and we're going to cut it right off the spit onto your plate. So, everything's cooked in large pots over propane burners in the parking lot. That's right. We didn't say it would be good.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
It's a field kitchen.
That's true. Even on deployment, we can cook. Montana Sky beef bacon. Agreed.
Everything's cooked with beef bacon.
We have the master
Oh,
chef
yeah.
here now for beef bacon.
We do. We need to ask that today. Should we open a restaurant? We're like, that's why you're here.
Where is
So, Mikey, hold on. Mikey said, Bear,
What?
I mean,
Moshe's?
I mean
No.
this in the most respectful way possible. Y'all are always putting down 2A people for not standing up to the government. My question is, what are you doing to stand up to the government? So I'm going to answer that before everybody else jumps in. The first thing I'm doing is starving the beast. I do not willfully participate in this unrighteous abomination of a delusion that is the government. The next is, in case you haven't noticed, I do the government's job every time a storm hits. Okay? So that's probably a big part of that. The next is we provide a covering to widows and orphans that have been subjugated to the type of shit that would literally break you if you knew what it was. The next is I don't have one, I have 4 businesses that I use to employ people and do meaningful shit and actually save people's lives with.
Amen, brother.
The next is I do not allow them to have jurisdiction over me. I stand up at every turn and I teach y'all how to do it too. I exercise my no muscle. The local authorities, they know who we are, they know where we stand, and guess what? They don't F with us and we don't F with them because I don't want to fight with them. I'm just not ceding any of the authority the Father gave me to them. I'm not doing it at all. And if your idea of governance begins with the federal level, you don't have a effing clue how this country was supposed to be established. Now, lastly, specifically to the 2A, yeah, the issue I have with the 2A movement is that those people, and maybe you're one of them, like to fondle their guns as if they're toys, they're playthings to take to the range. They're not. They are weapons of war. And if you pussies would just remember that, and when people say they're weapons of war, and you say you're fucking right they are, push me one more time and find out, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. So that's my answer as to how I'm standing up to the government. Foe.
And I was going to add, I don't think that we criticize and we don't stand up for the government. We don't rely on the government. I think that's a difference. We're not attacking them and going after them. We're not relying on them to help take care of us. We're finding ways to take care of ourselves. So there's a difference.
Agreed.
Well, and in large part, a lot of 2A guys that say they're advocates for that don't do shit. They just run their mouthpiece, and that doesn't mean anything. Action is like, are you reactive or proactive to it? Like, it makes a difference.
Agreed.
So, spending a lot of time in the 2A community, talk is cheap, man. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. You know what I'm saying? And that's the deal. Is the reality is that there's so much stuff going on with what they're doing, and if you realized how much power you actually have to not be a member of their nonsense party, like, it would astound you. Your city and your county government and sometimes your state government is what really, really affects you. And if that's where you put your time and your investment, that's how this you touched on it. That's like how this country was based. Like that's literally the foundation of it, is that we control the state. It's the republic, right? And so the idea is we're really close with the people in our county, and then our county knows our views, so that our county can then voice that in our region, and then do it like the whole state. And it's much more different. And 2A guys don't do that. They sit on a Discord thread and they talk about how the Boog Boys are going to take it back, one police department burned at a time, which is a huge problem. The reality is like, that's not how this country was actually formed. It was formed with strategy and discussion and like true, like just like, you gotta kind of handle things how Messiah and Yah would, and like Yah would always give quite a bit of warning before he smoked somebody. Like that's not exactly how he just always operated. And 2A guys talk about violence a lot, and it doesn't have to be that. So I criticize 2A guys all the time because most of the time they don't do anything. They don't form a community and they don't take charge in that regard and live free of that system. You don't have to play in their playground. Dude, go build your own playground.
That's what we're doing.
Amen, brother.
And to that point, I've touched on this a lot lately. There's no resistance without resilience. The 2A community doesn't talk about resilience at all. At all. Yeah, it's Bundy Ranch. Let's talk about Bundy Ranch. Okay? And good on those guys for going and standing up. to the Bureau of Land Management. Good on you. Within 3 days, they had no food, no water, they had no shelter. Half of their guys were sick. They had no commo. They allowed the opposing force to co-opt the messaging. They were a soup sandwich within 72 hours. No logistics. Logistics wins wars. You don't even actually know what you're fighting for. And that's the biggest problem for me with these people is you can't even articulate to me, oh yeah, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed, being necessary to a free state. Okay, cool. For what? For what? Why? How? Oh, the blood of liberty has to be, the tree of liberty has to be refreshed with the blood of tyrants from time to time. You know what that means? Do you have the will and the resolve to actually do that? And if you do, that makes you a guerrilla. And if you're a guerrilla copy, where's your support structure? Where's your underground? Where's your auxiliary? Where's your political wing? What's your messaging? What's the mission statement? What are your strategic initiatives? Right? What are your logistics considerations? I think we need one more chair. It's down at the gazebo.
I just told him.
So, shalom, brother.
Shalom, brother.
See, there's the shirt right there. This is the government our founders warned us about. Say hi to the people.
Shalom, people.
It's
What's
Mad
happening?
Kelp.
It's me. I'm here.
So, all that to be said, like,
He's real.
and I think that's perhaps a legitimate question. Okay, Barry, you harp on the 2A guys all the time. What are you doing about it? That, in a nutshell. We do the government's job better than they do, and I don't allow them to do the parts of their job that I don't agree with in my life at all. Like we just, like Foe said, like Bob expanded upon, I hate their sandbox, so we're building our own. We've built our own. Now it's just a matter of like, what kind of castle do you want to make today? It's like, maybe we should do an addition on the sandbox. Can we get another dump truck of sand in here? Like, how about a swing set? Like, sandbox is built, man, and more kids come to play every day.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah, right? Yep. So, what breed of ghosts do you have? None, because goats are evil. Goats are evil abominations.
He said he will separate.
Hey, Raincat
We
said,
have Kentucky
hey.
and Zebu cows.
I want to touch on one more thing, Mikey. Mikey, I appreciate your spirit. Fair enough, brother. Thank you for not being combative. And to the extent that I get a little worked up, please understand, I'm not trying to be combative with you, okay? Shut up, Kosher Dad.
He's passionate.
I'm passionate.
T-Bone Davidson. Thank you.
Kosher Dad with the damn, and the goats shall be for your daughter's milk.
Shut up, Kosher Dad.
Shut up, no goats. But I was talking about this on a video that will air on Patreon within the next couple of weeks. The militia movement versus the MAG movement, right? You have to have the resilience to sustain. If you can't sustain, if you can't endure, resistance doesn't matter. I can choke you out, and literally and figuratively, I can choke you out in a matter of days if I don't allow supplies to come and go, right? And so what we are building is resilience. That's what we want. I want my kids to grow up in a society better than what we have now. And here's the deal. How do you define society? How do you define community? How do you define we? That's the biggest question. How do you define we? For many of us, our identity is wrapped up in the big national we of the United States of America. My we now is us here doing these things together. This is my we. It doesn't mean I don't support the men and women of the United States of America. But as far as sanctioning what the country is all about, hell no, I'm out. I am not going to condone the abominations that this country is engaged in. I won't do it. And I made the comment the other day on a live stream, it's really damn difficult to remodel a house while you're living in it.
Amen, brother.
Right?
Yes.
Really damn difficult. Sometimes you get injured.
Like the worst. There's
Well, you're
divorces that happen
Yeah.
because people remodel their houses.
Yep.
Like,
It's really damn difficult to remodel a house while you're living in it. And what you're talking about is remodeling the biggest, most powerful house on the block in the neighborhood. And there's 340 million people that live in it. It's a big deal. So
And nobody can agree on the paint scheme or where the cabinet should go.
Right.
that's a
Oh,
great
yeah,
point.
amen,
And
bro.
Matt Kelt said, and nobody can agree on the paint scheme or where the cabinet should go. That's exactly right. And there's two camps, and they live at opposite sides of the house, and they don't talk to each other. But there's some assholes that live in the middle of the house that are pretending that they represent everybody else that lives in the house.
Well, and everybody on either side is contacting lawyers to sue the other people because they didn't like the color of the kitchen got painted.
Meanwhile, the guys in the middle are just taking everybody's money and building their own king-size bedroom
Yeah.
with a jacuzzi.
Or doing it one way and then redoing it
Yeah.
a different way.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, every 4 years we remodel the house, and
Yeah.
we're like, how come nobody likes the house? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Because we
So-
need to burn the house down.
Burn the house
legit
down.
thing. Like,
It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Hell yeah.
tons
So-
of couples literally get divorced because they remodeled their house.
They're fussing over the carpet right now. Gotta go. Thanks, Carrie. Appreciate you, man.
It's the biz, bro.
I have rescued a Mexican street dog. He's 2 years old. Acts like a coyote.
Might be a coyote.
Thank you for the intel, Spartan.
Might
Now
be.
we all know. Me and 751 of my friends all know now. Thank you, Spartan.
Yeah.
They do crossbreed.
Yeah, it might be a coyote. Like,
Legit.
Walks like a dog.
it walks like a coyote and it yips like a coyote.
Secondhand lions on the porch. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll have to map it out because none of it's like easy terrain.
Yes, you do.
Praise.
You live here
God.
now.
You live here now, eh?
Praise God.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make Canuck feel better. Right? And he feels he's not. Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in a while. I need to talk to him.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk when our friends aren't here. Yeah. Get to know your sheriff. We do, and they're good.
Old DB.
Where do we sign up? You don't. You don't. The Father moves you here. You come on mission. It all begins with that. You come on mission, and then if the Father moves you, and if the Father moves us, He might literally move you to where we live. And in some cases, He might not.
And if you, and
Start
if
reading
you
the
don't do
Torah.
the moving you don't do, he hits you in the back of the head with a shovel and you pay attention to it. And then he starts taking stuff away from you to make it easier for you to go.
Amen. Amen.
Very true.
So sometimes you should just drive from Mission here. Yeah. It's hot.
Some people do that. Some people. Do you know anybody who does that?
I know a guy who drove from Mission here and then went home and got his stuff and then came back.
Didn't even get all this stuff.
Didn't
Just
even
got
get all
some
his
of
stuff. Left like 70% of it. So I was like, dude, your hand is on the plow. You're looking back. I'm like, oh shit, my bad. So I hit me in the head with a 2x4.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you thought you were taking all that? Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I put my wife and a baby and my dog in a pickup truck with some of our stuff, and then we drove 800 miles to our home because Yah showed us our people, which is like the coolest of cool.
Praise
And
God.
we were happier than we've ever been with all of the stuff and things. And
A bumper took that ruin too.
yeah, and then
We went
we.
back to get it.
And
And
y'all
then
was
it all
like,
got water damage.
Yeah.
So
Because I went back and I was like, I should probably go get that stuff. And Yah was like, you don't take hints well. So there's a bunch of water damage. I'm like,
destroyed your stuff.
I'm like, stop doing this to me. I just wanted my wife's wedding dress.
You just needed the snowplow.
Yeah, I need. I brought the snowplow to begin with. Yeah,
That, that was awesome
I
because
drove
then
here
it
with-
snowed.
Yeah.
And we're
A
like,
lot.
if only we had a snowplow. What?
we were trying to get a bunch of orders out. We were like, oh.
Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
trapped at the office, and I happened to bring my snowplow, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta leave early because of the snow." I was like, "I plow this whole county." That's not a
You
problem.
did. The mayor, was it the mayor?
Yeah, the
was like,
mayor of the
"What's
town
this?"
that we live in came, or that we work in, came over and was like, "Well, I'll be darned, ain't this the coolest thing I ever seen? You just put this on your pickup truck?" I was like, I am not in Chicago anymore. He's like, "Hey, I'm a mayor. I'd sell sell U-Hauls down there. That's pretty nice. You should bring it on by my U-Haul lot. I'm like, you're the mayor and U-Haul? I also do life insurance. I'm like, what is happening right now?
Welcome to Eastern Oklahoma.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, man.
So how deep do you think the federal government has their fingers in that guy?
Right, yeah. What happens when they come to take your land? I'm like, yeah, they're going to use the mayor in between his life insurance policy and two
U-Haul rentals.
Settle down, internet. I think you may be overestimating that.
A lot.
The government. Yeah, I've seen them. I know them.
Yeah.
They were impressed by my snowplow.
And your tourniquet.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh gosh, that's phenomenal. My face hurts from laughing. Well done, Bug Out Bob. Well done.
Oh gosh. I love our life
Yeah, I love that life too.
immensely. Can I get a stick from you? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Which stamp? Oh, this one in particular?
Very independent, 145 days and 4 hours until midterm elections. Okay, first of all, you're following that too
That's
closely.
way too much.
Next, what do you see happening between now and then? I've already told you.
Yeah.
Political violence, civil unrest.
I'd say
It's happening.
Food shortages, like
Same thing's been going on for the last.
Logistics. Do you not watch
if
the
you're
brief?
not
I'd say waiters in the fall,
paying
we could probably have a
attention,
lot of fun.
you're like, there's no hope.
But so there's a balance there, though, right? Like pay attention, but don't pay too much attention.
Right, like don't get obsessed.
Hey,
We're not
Kel,
live
you
in
need a
fear.
torch?
Yeah.
Got you, bro. Just speak up, man.
Like,
We're not to
I'll
live
steal
in
a
fear.
Jody's.
We're to prepare and have faith that like
torch.
anything else that we could possibly need, y'all will provide.
Will gas ever be affordable again? Yes. Right after you get your horse and buggy, it'll come back down to $1.50 a gallon. Well, and even,
Don't eat.
Yeah, are you 10 then?
but even that, I mean, there's a thing. You're welcome, brother. There's a thing called inflation. So the weakening of the dollar is not helping the price of gas either. We talk about a lot of forcing factors, supply-demand issues with gasoline that's causing the price to go up. But what about the fact that your dollar is worth 18% less today than it was a year ago? Nobody's really talking about that either.
Best 82-cent dollar around, bro.
I'm telling you, man. Like, get it while you can, because the 79-cent dollar that's coming
Coming
next
soon.
week is even worse. So,
Better buy silver. No, buy food. 100,000 people have asked about the cows in Kansas.
Yeah.
That video.
And I've seen that it
I'm-
was 10,000, 3,000, 1,000. Like,
It was like 3,500 cows that did die. That was real in Kansas.
I want to know your thoughts.
talk about it.
So, 3 days ago, I actually had this sent to me by a buddy. About 3,500 cows in Kansas died all at the same time. Originally, they were trying to say that it was heat, but given the way that they died all at the same time, it's almost definitely not heat. They then tried to say that it was bovine respiratory disease, to which the rancher who owned the cattle said that he had treated them proactively for such diseases. So, couldn't be that. The rancher is now doing a separate autopsy with a couple of different vets to try to figure out what's going on. Probably something in the food. If I was a betting man, I would say that their food got
I'd say mold.
mold. It could also be like a hit job. Like
It could, yeah.
I mean, 3,500 actual beef cows. How much,
Right.
what,
That's not
Calculated.
coincidence.
It's
and it's likely not
$700,000
disease.
minimum.
yeah.
Where'd they get all that
At
beef from?
minimum $700,000.
How
No,
many
$7
pounds
million.
of How many pounds of beef is that? You got to figure you're
Oh,
gonna get
gosh.
600 pounds off a head of
A
cattle.
lot.
That's-
1,750,000 pounds of beef.
Yeah, that's like an obscene amount of food that just disappeared from the market. And my mom sent
Right
me
during
that
the food
video
crisis.
today. She's like, "Hey, did you see this?" And I said, "Yes. This is why we're actively putting cattle and sheep on our property because it's bad. It's really, really bad, and it's only going to get worse."
It's also worth pointing out, in the state of Oklahoma, if you mess with my livestock, I get to poke holes in you with high-speed lead-based projectiles. So weaponized satellites from space. Maybe the Pleiadians. That's
They should have put
possible as well.
aluminum foil on every cow.
That's true. If they had only had aluminum foil on the cows.
It was direct energy
So,
weapons that they used.
What do satellites do? They
Yeah,
orbit
it's all
the
on the
Earth.
same branch.
Or spin around over the flat Earth, depending on what you
Or it
friggin'
could have been
think.
aliens.
So-
I mean, aliens could have
No,
been
no,
like.
they couldn't have spun around here.
Find
Might have been heavy gravity that killed them all.
Could have been extra heavy.
Yeah, extra heavy gravity. On that day, some days there's no gravity.
I know you're
What's up,
trolling me.
Joseph?
No.
We never troll you.
Never.
Not connected to the mass fires at food processing plants at all. Right, exactly. Nothing to see here. Just, keep watching CNBC
These are not the droids
or
you're looking
Fox
for.
News and just keep going through the motions, man.
It's a
Everything's gonna be
great
fun.
Some big screen TVs and some Xbox and some Air Jordans.
Hell yeah,
Everything
the
fun.
Air Jordans, man. It's all about the Air Jordans. Here's the thing. Frankly, these are not the kind of questions I want to answer on Tactical Tuesday. We do the Intel brief Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the reason for that is to point out indicators in the macro system that should motivate you to become more independent from that system. Do not be surprised. The day is coming. The day is coming. Do not be surprised. Like, it's happening. Adjust your OODA loop. Best black metal band? Okay.
That's a great question for
Best.
Thirsty Thursday. since it's
That's a
Thursday,
great.
not Tuesday.
That's a great question. Let's start with the fact that basically all black metal bands are a bunch of satanic heathen assholes. That being said, I played drums in black metal bands, and at the time I was a satanic heathen asshole, so I can speak with some authority on the subject. Well, dude, you got the big three: Immortal, Emperor, and Dimmu. Dude, the Insight and the Catharsis by Dimmu, probably their best song ever. Although maybe, and I give these words no power, Blessings Upon the Throne of Tyranny, that's an awesome track because Nick Barker's an insane drummer. Behemoth is good, but they're more new wave black metal, and they bridge the line between black metal and death metal. Emperor, dude, with Strength I Burn, best friggin' song, maybe best black metal song ever written with Strength I Burn. And then Immortal is just immortal, dude. Immortal is incredible. What are y'all laughing
I
about
wanted
now?
to say it, but I didn't.
What?
Go ahead, Fo. Share with the class.
I was always trolling.
I said we're so happy you're not satanic or a heathen anymore.
Me too. Why would you not say that?
Because he left one of the adjectives out.
Oh. I'm still an asshole.
Yeah, I didn't get that adjective
Yeah.
in my text, just so you know.
We love you.
I love you back, jerk. I don't know, man. Emperor is incredible. Withstand the Fall of Time by Immortal. Withstand the Fall of Time is probably my top Immortal track. Although you have to go with the cult original Blazrik Mighty Ravendark. Incredible. And then if you have to have some chill tunes, The Twilight Is My Robe by Opeth is incredible. That's an incredible track. Now, next question. Tomahawk M468 said, I challenge everyone to ditch all social media and stop watching the news. Just experience life and people and see how much more joy you will get. I have mostly, and I have no regrets. Amen.
That's how I operate, Tomahawk.
That's
like,
a good way.
Low information diet.
yeah, like
Yep.
I'm very rarely, like, I have an Instagram account, but I very rarely, like, check it. And then I do have Facebook, but that's really just for Marketplace. It's for the classifieds. Because I find really good deals
You
on
really
Marketplace. Like,
Facts.
Yeah.
yeah, I find some awesome deals. So, but that's really it. And I don't read the news very often, and,
Well-
I just kind of exist in our little bubble, and I am perfectly happy that way. Like, unless it directly affects me,
Praise
I
God.
don't really care to know.
You rarely have your phone on you. You're like, you lose it a lot.
Yeah,
I
that's
lose
true.
my phone all the time.
That's a good
Like,
thing.
And
It's a
it
really
is.
good thing.
Like,
Unless you
It's-
need to talk to her.
Then you just find somebody near her.
right. Like, there's other avenues
The
to
rest
get a
of us
hold of me
always
if it's
know
an
our phones are.
emergency. But
Type A.
I really
Type B.
hate like being tethered to this thing. I see it like people don't connect like they used to. So I choose not to live that way.
RLRL admin at Bear Independent. You have the first 3 pages of Nutter from Nar. Thank you.
We got it.
Yep, we got it. Me too. I don't carry my phone. Cool. I do. I got 2 of them.
One for each.
I got
Right.
2 of them.
He makes up for
One
both
for
of
the
us.
CEO and one
Yeah.
for the influencer.
Oh, shut up, Josiah.
That's good.
How would you pay taxes for property after SHTF?
I talked about this on the expert panel at
have to.
SOE Tactical.
I think say
If
how
you
would
get
you-
to the point, so
how.
here's the thing. Shit. First of all, what do you mean after SHTF? Where have you been?
It's already.
What is right now? Is there not shit all over the fan right now? You just have this preconceived notion of what SHTF is supposed to look like, and because you're not, in some Mad Max biker gang out there plowing zombies in the street with a sawed-off 12 gauge, you don't think it's SHTF. That's because you've been desensitized from the reality of the situation that we're in. So first of all, loving rebuke for that. Adjust your OODA loop. Damn it. Next, how would you pay property taxes? If the system goes away to the point that your money doesn't work, do you think the county might want something else? Maybe you should, instead of being a consumer, become a producer. That's all. Sheep spend, bro. In fact, there's a thing in the Bible, if you read it, called a casita. The casita was a unit of measurement for a monetary unit of measurement equivalent to 1, drumroll please, sheep. A casita. So I'm gonna pay my property taxes in casitas and or silver rounds and or labor if needed, or security, or intelligence, or beans, or chicken eggs, or seeds, or fodder trees, or squash or peppers or tomatoes or potatoes or corn or zebu cattle or clean drinking water or homemade moonshine or whatever the hell else I got. There was one of my favorite stories from the Great Depression was there's a guy who raised swine and money had no value. Great Depression, right? And those that did well in the Great Depression were those that were not leveraged in debt and had liquid assets. And this guy built himself a telecommunications empire in the Deep South by trading pigs to radio networks. He would go and buy radio stations and telegraph stations for a pig because the owner was starving to death. He had a pig, he traded him, and he bought up over 200 telegram and radio stations during the Great Depression with swine. Get out of the fantasy land, man. Like, if money doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for them either. It's the fact. Look at history. How did people do stuff? What about salt? Put salt in buckets. That man is worth his salt. Where does the word salary come from? Sal, salt. Priceless. Literally priceless. So, and people bring that up all the time. Usually it's people that don't want to move to the country, and sometimes people who have moved to the country. Like, well, what are we going to do about property taxes? Money is just fiat currency that represents blood, sweat, and tears that you've already spent. That's all it is. It's just a representation of effort that you've already put in. So is everything else I'm surrounded by. So.
I think it's a false assumption that the economy completely collapses and there's nothing that replaces it.
Right.
There
Like,
will be a transition to something else. It will
Yes.
be some kind of currency. It'll be something else.
Good
You'll
point.
You'll still have to raise whatever that is
mhm.
to pay taxes.
Agreed. If y'all couldn't hear Jay Johns, he said, I think it's a false assumption to think that the economy collapses to the point that there is no money. It will either still have money or it will be replaced by something else.
Other
So,
things will carry on that value.
It's a
mhm.
perfect opportunity for the government to implement a new system that gives them even more control.
Hell yeah, Hegelian dialectic. Almost as if we're intentionally crash landing the economy that we have. Why would they do that?
They would never.
They've never
They
done
love
that
us.
ever.
They
in the
care
history
about
of
us.
humanity. Like, no, dude.
What?
It's
So
not
many
like
people
some
could get
emperor
hurt.
in China 800 years ago was the first dude to take little pieces of paper that were black squares and say, this is money, and you have to take this money instead of gold because the emperor said so, and if you don't, we will kill you.
Huh.
That never happened. Right?
That sounds like fake
They're
news.
only beneficial. They
Shut it
only
down.
have your best interest in
I agree.
Sounds
Because
like
I've
it.
seen the binders
They're
of the
gonna love
mountain,
their money.
Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it totally says continuity of bear camp on the front of that binder.
It's continuity of mom and pop and everybody on Main
Yep.
Street.
Sounds like a conversation I had with Takliki Torah earlier today.
Oh yeah?
Yep,
Takliki Torah?
Takliki.
Somebody text him. He's got to change his name
Is that
now.
like tackly or like
Takliki.
Takatili.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they don't work there very good.
Did every empire collapse from conspiracy of elite seizing control? I mean, to a greater or lesser extent, define elite. There's always power struggles. And that's the thing, man. People continue on. Systems come and go. They're like Rome was the greatest empire on the face of the earth. It's still there. There's still Romans there. You can fly in a plane today to Rome and see all the Roman stuff and all the Roman people and eat some pizza and pasta and homemade cheese and like you can do that.
Wrestling.
And do some wrestling, but it's no longer the center of world power and control. 200 years ago, Great Britain, 200 to 500 years ago, Great Britain. Before that, China, right? China was the center of the world's power. Not anymore.
Before they expanded.
Maybe again soon. Yeah, Spain.
Portugal.
Exactly. Like, it happens. The people are still there. Comms 30 miles, no line of sight. Ham the only way. Yeah, unless you own satellites. Shannon B. Yes. Hold on. Ken Warland said, raised Catholic. Kids and area turned me on. Southern Conservative Baptist, ? Just received the scriptures from you. Digging through it every night. I am not a Southern Conservative Baptist. No, negative. That's not me. I read the Bible and I do what it says. Which I got that phrase from this man right over here. Read the book and do what it says. That's what we do. I'm non-denominational. I'm so into Messiah that Christians don't like me. And I'm so into the Torah that Jews don't like me. And I'm so into Yah that I don't give a shit about either the Jews or the Christians. I read the book and I do what it says. So, you do you, boo, as our pastor would say. Which is fun. You know. I know. I love it when he does, though.
What?
I'm like, damn it, Dad. That's great. Like, I love that.
He went live Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
It was.
I haven't seen it yet. I love it when they go live, though.
Oh, dude,
It
it
was
was really
funny.
good.
He's always like just the right amount of salty when they
Yes.
go live. Yeah, it's great. It's great. He's got skills, man.
He does, bro.
Yeah, it's almost
Yeah,
like
he
he's
was
been
shining.
YouTubing for like 8 years or something.
I love the times when
long time.
I love the times when they go live on her channel.
Uh-huh.
So it's her live stream, and he just kind of sits there and he tries to act like he's not gonna interject.
Uh-huh.
Her live
totally
stream,
does.
and you'll hear him from like across the room, and someone will be like,
Exactly.
"Thought you weren't gonna talk," you know, and it's hilarious. Finally, he'll just come sit down.
Oh,
like,
was he live on his channel?
Yeah.
yeah,
on
he was
Tuesday?
live on his
Wow.
channel. Yeah, which is really
Wow,
rare.
that's I don't know if I've ever heard of
It
that.
was late, too.
It was.
Wow.
Like 10 something.
After we left here, went back and caught the last.
Wow, yeah, I
20
gotta
minutes of it.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
I was
they were
unaware.
definitely
Is it on YouTube or Patreon?
salty. I think it was YouTube.
Is it on YouTube?
I mean, we're all on all of those things, so.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few people on here that are on there. Like
Does
Cat
the
was on
Torah
there.
forbid blood transfusions?
Sarah
Depends
was
on
on
who you
there.
ask. The Torah is about the preservation of life. So, if I needed a blood transfusion to save my life, I'm going to get a blood transfusion to save my life. If I need a blood transfusion because I've made poor life choices, it's maybe a different conversation. The Torah is about the preservation of life. And to be clear, I'm not a rabbi, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a bishop or a priest or a preacher. I read the book and I do what it says. And when the book was written, they weren't taking blood out of one person and putting it into another. There's two areas where the blood is addressed in the Bible. The first is we don't eat it. Well, there's three. The first is we don't eat it. It's not food, right? You let it spill upon the ground, that goes to Yah. The next is the blood of the lamb, the covering that represents from the sacrifice of Yeshua on the stauros, on the stake. Okay? So you're covered by the blood of the lamb. That's Passover, Pesach, Exodus 12, all the way forward to the work of Messiah on the stake. And then the last is keeping your bloodlines clean. And so the Evrites, which become the Hebrews, were descendants of Shem and Shem's bloodline, because the sons of Noah, you had Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Ham was a traitorous asshole, and he transgressed, and so Shem became the chosen one. And so the sons of Shem are where you get the Evrites, the Hebrews from. And then Hebrew being, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being the 12 tribes of Israel, Gentile believers being grafted into the tree of life, which is a metaphorical representation of the 12 tribes of Israel. Fast forward to Revelation chapter 7, what do you see? The 12 tribes of Israel sealed in their forehead, and a great multitude of these saints, which are defined in Revelation 14, chapter 12, as those that have a testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach, and, not either or, and keep the commands that are grafted into the tree of life. So, anyway, the purity of blood, you look at Numbers chapter 25 through 28, and Moshe telling the children of Israel, Moses telling the children of Israel, hey, don't intermarry with these heathen scum. It's not going to go well for you. And that's where Balaam and Balak, Balaam or Bilam being the false prophet, says, hey, I keep trying to curse these Hebrews and it's not working because Yah won't let me say anything against them. So you're not going to be able to take them in battle. But you got a bunch of hot heathen ladies around here. Maybe they could go over to the camp over there and like do some twerking and other kinds of heathen shit and get them to fall in love with them. And they do. And later on in the time of the prophets, there's a revival at one point. I think it's Ezekiel, where there's a rediscovery of the Torah. The king reads the Torah and what's that? King Hezekiah. Yep. And they put away their heathen wives because they're not keeping their bloodline clean. And so, all that being said, the Torah is about preservation of life. And so for me, if my wife needed a blood transfusion to stay alive, my answer would be yes, because that intervention is about the preservation of life. But I would also want to make sure that like that blood was not corrupted, if that makes sense. Because there's a lot of stuff floating around in blood over the last couple of years. You might have noticed there was a big push to get certain people to put certain things in their blood so they could be permitted to do certain things. So, all that being said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So,
Somebody asked if you ever watched Glenn Beck.
I used to watch Glenn Beck a lot. I've actually done some work for Glenn. I've done some work for Mercury One. I've done work at the studios in Las Colinas, Irving, Texas area. And I've met Glenn on a few occasions. Before he was hit by a train, Yah rest his soul, I was on the Doc Thompson show. I've met Stu, I've met Jeffy, I've met Pat. I know Glenn's son-in-law, who also works at the company. I've met Elijah Schaefer and Savannah Hernandez, who was his producer at the time. I know a bunch of people at the Blaze. And I like Glenn as a human being a lot. He's a very kind guy. The last time I was there, we were dropping some stuff off to the studio, and all the offices in the studios have like inch-thick glass walls, so you can see everybody doing everything everywhere. And he was talking to a guy inside of his office. The first time I was there, I made a rocking chair for him, and I dropped the rocking chair off. And then the last time I was there, the rocking chair was still in his office, and he was standing next to this guy talking to him. They kind of looked over his shoulder and saw that it was me and Squid, and he did one of these to the guy. It was, I couldn't hear him, but he goes like this, like, "Hey, hold on," and he came out and he was like, hey man, like grabbed my hand, shook my hand. He's like, it's really great to see you. What are you working on today? What did you bring us? I also know Chuck, who's in the production department back there. Great guy. Chuck is an awesome guy. And me and Chuck, like, he does woodworking, I do woodworking. We like meshed, right? And so I was like, dude, we're Mr. Beck, dude, we're dropping off panels for your pop-up museum for Mercury One. And he's like, that's awesome. You made these? Like, these look awesome. I was like, yep, we made these. We brought them from the shop. I was like, thank you so much. Like, you guys do awesome work. It's really good to see you here. If you guys need anything, please let me know. We'll take care of it. I'm like, that's awesome. And so I don't agree with everything Glenn says on the radio, but I like him as a human being. He's like a very genuine human being. And he's one of those people that when you're talking to him, he's actually actively listening. Like, he runs a very large multi-million-dollar company. There's stuff happening all over the place. But, like, when you're talking to him, his eyes are on you. He's listening to you. He's engaged with your conversation. For somebody of that stature to be that intentional with their time when they're spending it with you, that's priceless. I can't say a bad word against him for that. I don't agree with everything he says or thinks or believes, and that's okay. But I used to listen to a lot of Glenn. I don't listen to a lot of Glenn now because I don't have a lot of time. And honestly, 1/3 of talk radio is commercials. Like, and I just don't have. I don't care how many ads for My Patriot Supply you run. I ain't buying it. Like they sent me shit for free and it was good, and I still don't need to hear one ad every 15 minutes from My Patriot Supply or the My Pillow guy. Like, I like my pillows. I'm good. I don't need any more. I don't need any more pillows. So I don't listen to near as much talk radio now, unless I'm just driving across the country and I don't have cell service, which happens more than you think. In which case, tune the radio to AM, hit search until it lands on an AM talk radio station, and you got probably a 1 in 4 chance it's going to be Glenn talking. So,
somebody else asked if anyone in your family or if you dealt with family treating you differently after Torah.
Obviously.
You're
hold
doing it
on.
right.
Quick poll of the porch.
Well,
Show of
Raise your
hands.
hands.
Show of hands. Show of hands. Show of
I
hands.
got a really good scripture for this.
Go ahead. Send it.
In Matthew, Yeshua is talking to the people, to his taught ones, and he actually says, I came not to bring peace, but a sword. I came to cause division. I came to turn father against son, mother against daughter-in-law. And he's talking about the division that following him aggressively will cause in your household. Because when you give your life to him, when he is your focus, all of a sudden people are going to turn against you. They're not going to understand. They're going to be discouraged. They're going to be
afraid.
There is a big fear part of it, and it's sad, but it is 100% biblical. And if your faith is not causing you division with the world, your faith is not full.
I got a word for that.
Heck yeah, send it.
Charles Spurgeon. Are any of y'all familiar with Mr. Charles Spurgeon?
Negative.
No?
No.
Great preacher, Mr. Charles Spurgeon. And he said this thing right here. He said, where is it? Oh, Christian, the world is not your friend. If it is, then you are not God's friend. Dude. Oh, Christian, the world is not your friend. If it is, then you are not God's friend.
Oof.
That's you got to understand there's a difference in between y'all's people and everybody else. Sorry, sweetie.
no, I would and there's a difference between family and family. I think T and I are fortunate enough that our family questioned, they were curious, but they were very accepting. Our immediate family, the ones we actually care about.
Already speaks truth.
She's correct.
The ones we actually care about, they were very, understanding. They were put off a little bit, like, what? Like, what's going on? But, like, once we explained it, they're like, okay, like, we still love you. Y'all do you. The world, extended family, yeah, there's been a lot of, like, huh? Y'all are weird, you're part of something. Yeah, you're a cult, like, but, like, the way I look at that is they're of the world. And luckily enough, like, we have really great family. We're fortunate that we have good people that surround us. That's part of the reason why we're good people is because we had help in that upbringing.
Thank you, Danny Jackson.
But yeah, like, people are going to judge, they're going to hate, they're going to talk shit, and do they matter?
Here's the thing. At the end of an age, it's not your grandpa, it's not your mom, it's not your wife that will stand there in judgment of you. It is Yah, the creator of the universe, Yahuwah our Elohim, the Lord our God. And the only thing that is going to keep you from getting smoke checked is Yeshua standing there as your intercessor with you, saying, hey, Dad, he's mine. I know he's a messed up piece of shit, but he's been doing this righteousness thing to the best of his ability since I met him and since he started walking with me, and he's mine. That's the only thing that keeps you alive. Your grandparents won't be there. Your mom won't be there, your wife won't be there, your kids won't be there, your best friends won't be there, your pastor, your rabbi, your priest, your bishop won't be there. It's you and Yah and Yeshua, and that's it. And Yeshua is the only one who can intercede on your behalf so that you can even come into the presence of Yah, because sin cannot exist in the presence of Yah. So, in the big scheme of things, see, and here's the thing, the you that should care about that should have died the moment you received Yeshua. And it doesn't crop back up again, because the world has talents. People, we have relationships with people, whether they're healthy or unhealthy. We have relationships, we have history with people. Right? We fall into patterns of behavior, and we have emotional memories of times past with these people. And we drag all this baggage along, and oftentimes it makes it difficult to separate from those people that are unhealthy for us. But at the end of the day, hey, Elisha, you say speak prophetically one more time, I'm going to prophetically kick your ass off of my channel, okay? But we have to subjugate ourselves to Elohim by the blood of Messiah. That's it. That's what matters. Everything else, everybody else's opinion doesn't matter. Now, a brother or a sister can and should reprove and instruct you when your ass is out of line. But even then, the goal there is not to bring you to their understanding, it's to bring you to a greater understanding of Yah and Yeshua so you can walk in his ways. And so it's difficult, it's super difficult, but you can't be friends with the world and friends with Yah at the same time. And it's really challenging. Yeshua talked about this. He was unable to do many miracles in Bethlehem, or Bethel, because a prophet is not revered in his own country, right? They didn't believe. They literally were like, is this not Yeshua of Nazareth? Isn't his mother Miriam and his father Joseph and his brother Jacob, James? Like, we know you. We've grown up with you. What do you mean you're Messiah? And today in your hearing, this prophecy has been fulfilled, Isaiah 52. And they're like, dude, we knew you when you were running around in shitty diapers. Shut up. They didn't believe. And so a prophet is not revered in his own country. And so when you start walking with Yah, oftentimes those people that know you the best are not going to accept that. That's okay. They don't have to. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You're walking with Yeshua. Is there anything better than walking with Yeshua? No, there's not. And if there is, you probably need to re-examine your relationship with Yeshua.
Right, your priorities aren't straight.
Well, the people in Babylon are terrified when you come out of Babylon because it forces them to look at what their own spirituality, what their values. I had people who were devout Christians,
Speak from the diaphragm, Don.
who had tried for years when I was a pagan to get me to convert. And then when I converted, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not what the book says. What you're telling me is not what the book says. What you're telling me is not what Yeshua says. You're like, whoa, hold on. Where you can't. And I'm like rebuking brothers for, going to the gym and ogling ladies in spandex. And I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't Yeshua say that when you look at a woman with lust in your heart that you've committed adultery? Well, it's like, those people don't want to hear it. They want their own sense of what it makes them comfortable.
Yep.
So when you change and you become one of Yeshua's people, it scares them to death because they're not.
Mm-hmm. And it should.
It should.
It should.
Yeah.
Depart from me, you who work lawlessness.
Right.
I never knew you.
If you're not scaring people, and you're not pissing people off,
Yep.
what is your faith? How are you demonstrating?
Agreed.
First James, I'll show you my faith by my works.
Agreed.
Right? So what are your works? How are you walking? What does your life show that you love Yeshua and that you're committed to Yah?
And your fruit, yeah.
Right. If you can't
What
do
fruit are you
those
bringing to
things,
the table?
you can talk about that all you want. If you're not doing those
sweet.
things,
Want to fix
then
me
your
one?
faith is useless, and it just terrifies the people who say that they have that faith, but they don't walk that way.
Well, and here's the thing. At the end of an age, every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. And there's a whole, everybody, you are going to be helpless. You will be on your knees. And I think when it says on your knees, you're not bending one knee like you would proclaim fealty to a king. I think you're going to be on your knees with your face in the dirt, weeping, confessing because of the power of Yah when Yeshua returns. If you don't already have that relationship,
Dude.
what are you doing? Who are you following? What are you following? There's right before men's retreat, I was walking out here, the sheep that we ate at men's retreat, and I had a rifle in my hand, and it was over here in the front yard, and I was like, I'm gonna lay up on the IBC totes, steady myself, drill this thing in the back of the head. And I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, right? I had to build a fire, I had to figure out where I'm gonna gut this thing, how I'm gonna do it, the whole nine. And I grabbed the rifle and I was walking up from the barn over this way, and I got right there. And Yah said, hey, clears the bell. He goes, are you going to pray to me? I said, yeah, I am. Driven into the dirt. To my knees, gun laid on the ground, face in the dirt, just praying and weeping, and time stopped. I don't even remember what I said. I was just babbling, right? And I come to, I don't know how long, maybe honestly 20 minutes later, because I heard Phelps pulling into the drive to come help. I heard his tires on the gravel, and I just finished praying, and I got up, and I was shaky, dude. I was like wobbly on my feet, grabbed the rifle and start walking this way, and Phelps comes over to me and he's like, bro, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, what's up? And I told him, and he got a little bleary-eyed too. And it's like, and then we shot a sheep, we butchered a sheep, and then we went and did men's retreat. And that men's retreat was incredibly powerful, right?
Oh,
but when the Father says, hey, are you going to talk to me? Man, if the answer is no, what are you doing? When the Son says, I require this of you, will you do it? And the answer is no. What are you doing? Or like, who are you following? And go ahead.
And if you have that experience and you talk to people and they're like, God talked to you? Really? You're in the wrong tribe.
Yeah.
Because we say that. We say, God talked to me, and everybody else goes, uh-huh. What'd he say?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're all like, huh?
What's the orders from the top?
Yeah, I think
that
we're all
again.
like, what? It's like,
Yeah.
we may have had the same word, and that happens
A
more
lot.
often than not.
All the time.
All the time.
Praise Yah.
all the time.
You
Two or
start
three
getting
witnesses.
the goosebumps. You're like, ooh.
And we say, what did he say? So we can hold you accountable for it also.
Mm-hmm.
Not what did he say? We don't know if we're going to believe that or not. It's like, okay, what did he say? So we can be witnesses.
That's
to
a
hold you
great
accountable.
point because it illustrates the trust and the wisdom and discernment that we have with one another as well. That if you come to me, or you come to me, or you come to me, or anybody comes to me and says, "Hey, I was talking to Yah and he said this," I'm like, "Preach it. I want to hear it. What did he say?" And we, many times, get the same word, oftentimes at the same moment,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, and we'll look at each other and be like, "What's going on here?" Then you get the Ruach goosies, you know, the Holy Spirit goosies, and it's like, all right, we're here now. Okay, cool. And I just want to follow that up by saying, like, man, the only special thing about us is Yah. That's it. It ain't us. We're normal people.
Well,
Well, we're peculiar people.
That is questionable.
But
But
I
we're
guess what I'm
normal.
saying is that
We're
type
not
of
special.
relationship is not unattainable. It's not.
We're
We're normal. We're not
All of
special.
us were broken, busted up sinners, and now we are who we are.
Yep.
It's completely unattainable. What is the condition of your heart?
Yep. Amen. Send it.
So Elijah, he commented back, said, anyways, sorry for challenging you, TJ. All I have is love for you, your family, and your channel. Nobody else will see this, and that's fine. The time to step up, speak out. The time is nigh. Much love. And I think you're wanting him to give you a prophetic word, but the reality is he doesn't decide that. Nobody but Yah decides who gives a word. And so, like, if you're seeking a word from T, maybe you need to seek a word from Yah, because your heart is longing for some sort of truth. Maybe it's time for your face to hit the dirt, and this is me just asking a question, not telling you, because I'm just a dude. And maybe it's time to hit the dirt and submit and ask him what he's trying to tell you, because obviously there's some pressing on your heart right now for some reason. And my brother right here, he's not a prophet. And if he's a pastor, he's a bad one. Like, so like, it's,
I wear it on my sleeve.
and like, don't put anybody on a pedestal, especially this guy. Like, the dude just reads his Bible. Like, some of you are like, wow, the knowledge. It's like, I wonder where he got it. The word. Dude, it's not that deep, you know. So seek
But
it
he's got
in.
a passion for it.
Yeah, well, that's super real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually reads it.
Right, because he's got a heart for Yah, which we all should aspire to do. I think that's one of the coolest things about this is everybody here has a heart for Yah. And so, like, you know, we changed Bible study locations this week, and for a second we were like, where's Bible study going to happen? And it's like, you know what, we'll just figure it out. We'll do it at the office, you know? And it's like, all right, cool. And everybody's like, we need to push in. We need to make that concerted effort, because everybody just, like, the whole goal is just, dude, let's get closer to the creator of the universe. Because for some reason he loves this broken piece of trash.
Amen.
And it's like, yeah, I should probably give him all my praise and all my love. So that's my word to you, brother.
So the thing is, like, we weren't broken when he made us. We weren't broken when he designed us. The world broke us. And yet we continue to hoard with it. I want some more of that. Really? That's what you want more of? Okay. And so it's that restoration, the renewing of the mind, the renewing of the soul that takes place when you actually turn your life over to Yah. It's like, all right, your will be done. Like, your will be done. I prayed over my mom. She was about to have a quadruple bypass in the hospital. And the hospital chaplain came in. Lovely black lady. Awesome. It just, you know when you can feel somebody's spirit? Awesome. She came in and she's like, I want to pray with y'all. And I was like, I appreciate that, but I'm going to do the praying. And she's like, okay, cool. I don't know what I said other than your will be done. That's it. I just remember turning my mom over to Yah, saying, hey, your will be done. Thank you, George. I appreciate you.
Wow.
Whatever happens, if my mom comes out of this fine, praise Yah. If this is the last time I see my mom breathing, praise Yah. and I love my mom, your will be done. And we got done praying. I said amen. We were all holding hands, laying hands on my mom. And the chaplain said to me, she said, you can come and pray for me anytime you're here. You just come find me and you pray right along with me. That was beautiful. And I'm like, thank you, ma'am. I don't even know what the hell I said. Right? Because, like, it's that kind of relationship. Like, you're not even there in those moments. Like, your body might still be on earth, but your soul is at one atonement, at one with Yah in those moments. And yeah, it's when your life belongs to him anyway. It's just some of us know it, some of us don't. Some of us acknowledge that and try and walk that out to the best of our ability, and some of us don't. But when you get in line with his will, man, all of a sudden these things just start happening. It's almost like his word will not return to him void. It's almost like the Bible is true. It's almost as if when he says in Deuteronomy 28, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, then you will be blessed. And he meant it when he said it. And Yeshua, I come to give life and life abundantly. And he meant it when he said it. And abundance doesn't mean yachts and cars and big houses. It means people that you love, and provision and protection and blessing, and being able to lean on the fact that all of this belongs to him.
Oh.
And if I need something, I just got to tell my father, who's a good father, who loves his children. Hey, Dad, Abba, Father. That's what that means. Abba in Hebrew means father. It's like, hey, Dad, hey, I need something. I'm in a jam. Can you help me out? I've been doing to the best of my ability all those things you told me to do. My room is clean. I took out the trash. I did the dishes. I did my studies. I'm making good grades. Can you help me out with this thing? I'm struggling with this thing. And he's up there going, yeah, dude, I've been waiting for you to talk to me about this. Of course. I have this thing for you. It's right here. But you have to come and acknowledge first that he's sovereign over all of that. And second, that you're his. And third, that so is everything else. And then you just got to ask for it, man. And again, it's not the Lambo. I'm not asking for a Lambo. I was praying over a track hoe 6 weeks ago. Father, yeah, I need a track hoe so that I can go do this work at Caleb's house. Please send me a track hoe. And then we had an awesome guy, a brother, who took the class in Waco. And he got done, and he's like, hey, I really believe in what you're doing at Caleb's house. I need to get your bank information, your routing number, because I want to make a donation. And he made a donation, and he covered all of the dump fee. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't know. He just felt led by the Spirit. He made this donation, and it was the precise amount that we needed, that I took out of the bank to go and do the demolition on the houses, haul the demoed stuff away, and get the track hoe to start the dirt work and fix the drainage. But I had to come talk to my dad, talk to my father, and say, hey, I need this. And he's like, hell yeah, you do. All you had to do was ask, son. But that's the thing, our egos get in the way. We don't want to admit we need help. We want to drive the bus. I'm a terrible driver of the bus. Every time I drive the bus, we end up in the ditch on fire. And I'm like, something must be wrong with the bus. It's like, no, asshole, you're a bad driver. But you let Yah drive the bus, and then wherever it goes. And it's okay. So.
Yeah, he won't drive you into a ditch unless you grab the wheel and pull it.
Yeah, he won't. Folks said he won't drive you into a ditch unless you grab the wheel and pull on it. And that's correct. So, what else we got, people? It has been a long day. It has been a long day. It's a good day, but it has been a long day. The Spirit. TJ has a gift of putting Yah's words into perspective on a blue-collar level. That is where Bear connects with us. Bless you, Bear. Hey, praise Yah, Glock 316. Glock 316 and Titanium Lakes. They have both been here for a long time. Long time. Years and years and years. Chad Netherton. Shalom, brother. Chad Netherton is in direct competition with Hans Hamann for best hair in the Bear Nation. And I really don't know who's going to win. But, there are two prime contenders. What's that?
Said Chad's got
Chad
some
has,
hair.
it ain't good hair. It is great hair.
It is good.
And the man makes teepees. I mean, come on. Like, he gave me a bear claw. Like not like a pastry, like an actual bear claw. Texas tea, Shalom, brother. There's another good brother.
That's a
Like,
good brother right there.
Yep. So, it's cool. And I love that, like, so, I love that we're here now with this, with y'all. Because, like, this channel was little. And right here, where this outhouse sits, there used to be a compost pile there. And I was walking around one day, 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, screaming at Yah. Right here. Screaming at the sky. Like, there is something I'm supposed to do for you, and I don't know what it is, and if you don't tell me, I can't do it. So how am I supposed to be obedient to what your will is if you won't tell me what it is? And clear as a bell. Read your Bible. To which I yelled at the sky, I am. To which he replied, on camera, you idiot. To which I said, I don't want to do that. That is not what I signed up to do. I don't want to do that. Clear as a bell. Did I stutter? Son of a bitch. Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And the preamble to Genesis chapter 1, that video is a 10-minute explanation of me saying, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm going to try. And I'm just going to do my best, and we're just going to read this book together, and we're going to learn together. And, I mean, the channel had like 2,000 subs, maybe.
Remember when you used to try to keep it separate?
Oh, yeah.
There was a time when
That
you
didn't
tried
work.
really hard to keep like homestead videos separate from Bible videos, separate from.
It doesn't work for me. It works for other people. It doesn't work for me. I can't do that. I don't have the ability to separate those two things from one another.
Imagine people have a Bible question. Okay, we're gonna end this live stream. We're gonna start another one.
Oh, dude. Oh, we have a Bible questions now. And that was a shift in perspective. You and I were talking about that a couple months ago. That maybe Thirsty Thursday isn't us sitting around and drinking a few cocktails and being assholes. And maybe it's more about the living water. Those out there who are thirsty and need to hear the word and pouring into them. That was a great word, man. That was a great word.
It wasn't me. I'm not that smart.
Yeah, so I think maybe it was Blake then.
No, it was me. It just I delivered it. It just didn't
Yeah,
come from
I
me.
thought it was you.
Yeah.
Well, bless you for being the vessel, the conduit. So, like, what do you mean?
You
I'm
want
like,
to know why? It's because somebody had messaged and said that your Thirsty Thursday had brought that. They heard something on a Thirsty Thursday that caused them to open up the word. They got a word from Yah, changed their whole life, came out of her, my people, and were able to start their homestead and rebuild their family. Because of a word on a Thirsty Thursday.
mm-hmm.
And that day you were like, I don't know if I want to stream and stuff like that. And I'm
remember
like,
that.
yeah, dude, I read this story today, and I'm gonna go ahead and have to I love you butt. Because, which we call, that's our code for rebuke around here. Like, I love you butt. Yah has you in this position for a reason, and it's much more a thirst of the spirit, you know?
Yep.
Because like we all thirst for living water. I mean, I feel, I'm speaking for myself here, I get as much out of these talks as probably anybody on the internet, because dude, we speak about a lot of heavy stuff.
Yep.
This is kind of how we live.
Good point.
I was gonna say we tend to have these talks at lunch, at work, for breakfast. Like
Stop work to
yeah,
have
we
this
stop
talk
work,
because
have
it's
these
super.
talks. You know, like if something's important to be talked about, we will address it right there. We're not. I wouldn't say we're not Sunday Christians because we don't do Sunday, but we're not Saturday, you know, Torah either. Like if that's not, you'll find us talking about the word every single day. For some reason or another, multiple, almost like once an hour. Like
Yeah.
it's just always kind of a part of everything we do.
Bob was on the phone for 90 minutes yesterday
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
with the guy who called just in the middle of work, just ministering to this guy for 90 minutes.
He usually builds
An axe.
around the office, but he had a Bible in his hand, and I was like, if he could solve that Bible through the phone.
So I had a guy had some questions. He's like, hey, can call, and I called him, and then he called me back, and I was talking to him, and like about 5 minutes into the conversation, my flesh was like, all right, you got stuff you need to do, and then Yah was like, yeah, you're doing it, and I was like, okay, cool, yeah, let's push all that other stuff, and like it was just like deep spiritual talks, and it wasn't like, well, I think, it's like, what does the word say? Where it was like, coincidentally, I had brought my Bible into the office that day because we had Bible study. Just coincidence that we had Bible study that day, and I had my Bible, and so I was able to like actually grab my word with my notes and everything in there and use it as a tool to minister to this guy, and it was really powerful. And we were texting today. And I'm sure we'll continue to text. He watches the streams and the videos and stuff like that. He might be on here. G.I. Lopez.
G.I. Jopez.
G.I. Jopez.
Great name.
Great name, dude.
Great name.
Defeating the Mexican cartel, man.
Oh yeah, when you figured that out and he like ran over to our little pack of desks and is like, it's him!
We were talking about that last week. I don't know if you remember that, Jody, when we were talking about G.I. Jopez.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the
who we
dude I was
talked on the
talking
phone.
to. And it was.
He was so
super
excited.
funny.
He ran over. Remember, it's him.
Yeah. It goes full circle.
That's just a half circle.
Yeah, that wasn't even 180 degrees, Bob.
I'm sorry.
How do you fast? Don't eat food. Drink as little water as you need to not fall over and die. If you're on any medications, take them. If you have to eat food so that you, like if you have a blood sugar issue or something like that, then take a little bit of food. And like, if you smoke, don't smoke. If whatever your vices are, like don't. Just when you fast, and when should you fast? Isaiah 52, I believe, is the.
Send it.
Is it 52 or 58? Talks about. Is it 58? Isaiah 58. Cry aloud and lift up the voice of the shofar. Yeah. Talks about fasting and how you should fast and why you should fast. You don't fast for your reasons, you fast for Yah's reasons. And Yeshua himself talks about this. Like, don't be a faker, don't be a pretender, don't be wailing and moaning and telling everybody, sackcloth and ashes. It's like, no, you just go fast unto Yah. Gut it out, bro. It's basically Yeshua saying, hey, gut it out, bro. Suck it up, buttercup. And it's fast on the Day of Atonement. Yom HaKippurim, Yom Kippur. Fast. Or for wisdom and discernment. Or I was just reading in Mark this morning, there's this one instance where this guy is filled with demons, and the apostles, the taught ones, are trying to rebuke these demons, and it's not working. And Yeshua comes up to him and he says, yeah, this type doesn't go out without fasting and prayer. So, if you have an undertaking of spiritual work that requires fasting, because what are you doing? You're taking yourself, when you fast, you're taking yourself and putting yourself on the back burner to be closer to Yah. And for me, that fasting is an acknowledgement, like everything I have, it all comes from Him. Everything I take for granted, my daily bread. Yeshua himself is like, give us this day our daily bread, right? Our daily bread comes from Yah. And that's proven out, right? Look at the Israelites in the wilderness over 40 years. The manna. And it's not give us this day 2 or 3 days worth of bread. It's our daily bread. It's not give us this day our 401k or my bass boat.
Except for on day of prep.
Except for day on prep, that's correct. Then it's 2 days. But it didn't keep till the 3rd day.
Nope.
So it'd go rotten. So that's how you fast, man. Is there a peaceful, lawful, constitutional way to fix all this mess? No. Stop trying to fix it. Be independent from it.
Pivot and adapt.
What's that?
Pivot and adapt.
Pivot and adapt. Amen. Pivot and adapt. Oodaloo. Guys, this system has been busted for a long time. It didn't just get busted. And I don't think you fix the system with the busted system. I can't fix, if I had a Hilti hammer drill that didn't work, how am I going to fix the busted Hilti hammer drill with the same Hilti hammer drill? I need another drill that's outside of that one to take it apart and address the pieces that are issued, swap some parts out, put it back together, test it. Oh, it works. It doesn't work. I forgot to ground the cord out. I shocked the shit out of myself. So forth. So like you can't fix the busted tool with the busted tool. You need some outside influence. And to that point as well, saw on Rex's Patreon channel had a decent video about this recently. A good video about this recently, talking about one of the issues with the founding fathers of the United States of America that very few people fail to remember is that the independence movement in the United States, the colonies before we were a country, had significant outside influence from nation states. What significant outside influence from other nation states do you see supporting the independence movement in the United States of America right now? Hey, nothing. Guys, and I read intel all day. It's my job. It's a big part of what I do. There's nobody lining up saying, you know what? Those freedom-loving Americans are correct. We need to support them in their efforts to defend this great nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That ain't happening. Where's that? So, and again, we've talked ad nauseum here about resilience versus resistance, the whole nine. Guys, it's broken. It's broken. You can't remodel the house while you live in it. Not well. So, and for all you chubs out there that complain about signal and audio quality, it's getting dark and you're going to have a hard time seeing me. So if that's a deal breaker for you, you might want to go now. You should still be able to hear me though, but you're going to have a hard time seeing me, which if you're for any reason interested in actually seeing me, you probably need to get your head checked by AVT or something.
Tell them to just hold up a flashlight to their phone.
Oh, that's a good idea. If you hold up a flashlight to your phone, you should be able to see me better. So that's a good question. No one is swatting at bugs. How are you keeping the blood-sucking bugs away? We have.
Fans of bug spray.
I have some bug spray right here. I have some more bug spray right here. And then there's also 2 fans running at a pretty high speed to blow the bugs away from us. So there was
there's a lot of swatting still going on.
yeah, there is swatting going on. There are SWAT teams right now. We're being actively swatted. So
Stack them.
yeah.
We just have a really good soundboard and green screen, so you can't see.
Well, I mean, plus silence weapons,
Well,
so
we're really in the studio. It's green screen.
Yeah.
it's
That's
We
why
need
there's no bugs.
the fluorescent lights above.
Are we supposed to be like slapping the bugs? Who's producing this thing?
soaked in DEET. Yeah. I'm at the point where the 100% DEET is inadequate. I need like 900% DEET. That, I mean, if you guys saw the tourniquet video that went up Tuesday, I pulled 4 ticks off of me in that 1/2 an hour video while filming. Like in the process of shooting the video, 4 Lone Star ticks, and I wasn't in the woods. I was right there by the gazebo. So it's just a thing. Your T-Triple-C series is great. Thank you, RL. I appreciate that. I'm hoping more people will check it out and share it because the views, honestly, have been pretty low. Pretty low. And it's what's called in the industry evergreen content. Once it's up, it lives there and that's good, and it'll get more and more views as time goes on. I wish that more people, even at this channel, took it more seriously. That when those videos drop, like 7,000 views on a bear video, guys, I've done some really dumb shit at this channel. It's gotten way more views than that. And so, like, how to use a tourniquet, people don't want to watch that video. What the hell's going on here? Like, that'll actually save your life. So, I mean, we were picking mulberries in tactical gear 3 years ago. Remember that tactical mulberry picking? That got like 12,000 views. But a tourniquet? How to actually save somebody's life? Like, nah, not interested. That sounds boring. So, what is your email address? admin at Bear Independent.
Yeah, you get.
And that
you don't get.
my email address doesn't go on the internet. You go through admin first, and then if they think I need to see it, then I'll see
And
it.
don't try other admins because it's still me.
It's gonna go to the same 4 people.
Great point. Don't try and work the system. We are the system, and so and all the desks are right next to each other. So when we get somebody that's trying to game the system, they all just kind of look at each other like, this asshole. Okay, and that gets you all the way to the bottom. Of
Yeah,
the list.
you just get delete.
And it is a substantial list. So.
We standardly have all 4 emails open at the same time.
All of us.
Yeah, all of us, because like turns out you get a lot of emails. So everybody's like, I got that one, or I got that one, or don't answer that guy, he's super weird. It'll be
Like that said a lot.
yeah, there's like a guy who emailed, he's like, the Anunnaki are coming in and they're gonna take him. No, delete. Get out of here with that crap. Not a chance.
Sometimes we meet him and just still laugh.
I mean, maybe the Anunnaki are coming, but do we need to talk about it on open channels?
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
it's
dude.
bad OPSEC, bro.
Bro.
Dude.
It was such a weird message too. Me and Mo sat there. We're like, "Is there a code in this?" Like, it really was. We're like, maybe every 3rd letter, if we use the gematria right, and then we're like, we should go to lunch.
For the Cracker Jack.
Too hot here. Too hot here. We've lost our minds.
Take a crack pipe and then you decode it with the crack pipe, and then it makes sense. That's how that one works.
And like, if you want to troll us, at least put your real email address on.
Yeah, dude,
Like,
don't
let
use a
us
fake
reply
one.
to you. Because everybody who does it when they troll us, they put like a fake email address, and then we can't respond. Like, at least let's have some fun.
Yeah, have some balls, you know?
Like, we'll sometimes play. I mean, you never know if the AC's broken and we haven't had lunch yet.
Yeah,
You
dude.
know, we may actually
That
have
is
some
that
fun.
is real talk right there.
It's totally real. I mean, it's called the Pentagon.
Yep.
Some intel stuff, and we will have some fun with you.
We have our own
But,
Pentagon.
Yeah, we really
have
do.
Have some balls and put your real email address on it.
Yeah, let's go back.
I
and
like
forth.
I like
We won't give it
the
out unless you're like really.
I like the regularly scheduled threats from random people that we've never met before.
They're like, follow the Bible.
That
Okay.
no, not that. I mean
Oh,
the
okay.
people that are like always implying that there's danger close.
Oh well,
And
yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
that's cute. Intel, give me actual intel, or I will ship you a compass so you can whip it out and shoot an azimuth and then F off in whatever direction you pick.
People send us such a YouTube link.
Oh, that's the worst.
No.
Bear needs to watch this video. No, Bear makes videos. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. And even then, like we were talking earlier, like I'm a type A, my wife's a type B. She never has her phone. I have 2 phones. Like I usually almost always have something going in the background. But even then, I'm selective about what I onboard. Like there's certain veins that I want to mine those veins. That's it. I don't give a shit about the Anunnaki. I don't care. Because if they come, and here's why, right? Because preparedness. I've mitigated this threat. I have an alien threat response already figured out. It's very simple. Shoot them in the face. For real. Shoot them in the... It's the same policy for Oklahoma Dogman and Sasquatch. Shoot them in the face, call the CIA, get pallets of cash. That's it. It's a very simple 3-step get-rich process, right? Like, shoot it in the face, call the CIA, get cash. That's it. So, like, I don't care what the Anunnaki are doing. Unless they're doing it right there, in which case, implement the react to Anunnaki drill, shoot them in the face, call the CIA, get pallets of cash.
Somewhere on this live stream, somebody's like, I should have a react to
Yeah.
Anunnaki drill. We don't have that.
Damn it, Don, we don't have a react to Anunnaki drill. Like,
Shit, let me put that down in my notes. Bear said react to Anunnaki drill.
it's in
Next
the,
night meeting, we're gonna do
it's
the
in the
Anunnaki.
prepper classroom
Quick.
2.0
Yeah.
binder that's coming out. So
Yeah.
Group chat, hurry.
everybody's
Guys.
on signal right now. What are we going to do about the Anunnaki?
Somewhere
Bear
there's a-
Camp has a drill. It's the same drill minus the pallets of cash that we use for trespassers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like,
Tracks.
how do you know what type of person you are? Be like, if you're a type A, you already know.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
don't ask that question if you're type A.
If you ask that question, you are a B.
Yep.
Possibly a C.
Or a C.
So-
Yeah, or a C.
Yeah.
You are not an A.
Yeah, thou shalt not Charlie Mail. Just so we're all on the same page
Because
here.
the A's all Googled that before they asked the question.
The B's really didn't care.
Oh, that's
The B's
funny.
don't have their phone.
Is it funny that when you said Type C, I almost whipped up Google and like started researching
I bet.
Type A?
Bear, slain
Like, here's
Nephilim
a
this
C.
week. Nope, 0 Nephilim slain this week. Unfortunately, we were in Tennessee most
Slow
of this
week.
week. It was a slow week for the Nephilim slaughter.
Uh-oh.
Jeez Louise. Email Bob at.
No, it's GKT.
As a felon, how do I legally protect my homestead? Suggestions. So I get this question
Black powder guns.
pretty regularly. And the short answer is I don't know because I'm not one, but I understand that black powder guns are not technically firearms, and so you might investigate that. You might also get a belt-fed repeating crossbow. You might form a mutual assistance group with people that aren't felons. Throwing that out there.
And
I never knew
slingshots are
belt-
awesome.
Is that a thing for real?
No, a belt-fed crossbow is
Like,
not.
I was like, I need that. I was like, that thing sounds awesome.
Twing, 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 twing.
Trebuchets.
I feel like Andy could make
Ballistas.
us one of those.
Andy can make anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Andy could definitely he's probably already in the shop right now, prototyping a
Tell him to put it on
belt-fed.
my Christmas list.
Okay. You enjoy that.
Yeah. Who are you?
No. We'll be over here doing Sukkot.
back at the range.
The porch goes silent. Sorry, the studio. The studio goes silent.
Yeah, the porch.
The patio.
The patio. That's great. You want a belt-fed crossbow for
Yeah.
your birthday? I'll talk to Andy.
I need a truck-mounted one though.
Yeah.
Technical with a belt-mounted crossbow. Flamethrowers. That's a good idea.
Not for vehicles, you're gonna
no, yeah.
crash yourself.
Well, and the other thing too is, and that this is me pontificating, is Bear the influencer from the internet. At some point, the direction we're headed, we're all going to be criminals anyway. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, just throwing that out there.
That's a faux show.
I am not a criminal, but you might be able to make me one with the swipe of a pen. So. Big bore PCP air guns. Well, so no PCP.
Yeah, pass.
No, none of that. None of that.
PCP is bad.
Yeah, PCP is bad. That's correct. Well done, sweetheart. Yes, PCP is bad.
That tracks.
We are on the same page here. Gosh, dang.
PCP bad.
Yeah, I've seen some people do
Okay.
some bad
It's like
stuff
Special
on
K. You
PCP.
just don't want to go there.
Yeah, I've seen some people in some K-holes too.
Oh no.
But big bore air guns are cool. The problem is even with the big tanks, 3 shots, maybe 4 shots for the big bore guns. What is that Air Arms Hunting Channel? I can't remember his name. South African kid. He's in South Africa. He's a young
The one
man.
that shoots all the
The pigeons and the rock things.
Yeah,
They
the,
look like gophers.
gopher things.
But they have a different
I
name
remember
for them.
watching
Dassies.
that.
They call them Dassies. Yeah, that guy. Super Dutch kid from South Africa. But he uses, I think they're 22 caliber air guns, and they get 40 to 50 shots. Now, foot-pounds of energy is comparable to a 22 long rifle. Y'all know how I feel about 22 long rifle. I mean, I could maybe see an argument for that, but effective range, dude, 100 yards. Now, for a lot of y'all, you're 100 yards is from one end of my block to the other. I'm that's not even to the creek over here to get to grandma's house. So, no go for me. The rest of y'all do your thing. So, I don't know. I'm not a great person to answer that question because I don't have a lot of real world experience. Now I hear Smooth Criminal in my head. You're welcome. Thanks, that guy. What's up, Tacklicky Torah?
Tacklicky Torah! You gotta change your name, bro.
Taggy. I like it.
Tackalickily.
Rock chucks, yeah. Yep, and then they eat them. You ever seen a groundhog up close?
Yeah.
They are nasty SOBs. You seen them?
Oh, yeah.
They look all cute and fuzzy
No, I
from
used to
far
trap them
away.
in my garden all the time. I mean, they're just nasty.
Oh, they're gross, man.
Especially
So,
the big bugs. You get some of the big monsters.
oh, they're huge.
They're knocked. Had him in a hammer tree. He's knocked. He's rolled the hammer tree around my garden.
They're nasty. They got those big teeth, big claws.
Yeah.
Which makes sense if you think about it. They dig through the earth, right? They
Yeah.
ought to have some big claws. I came home from school one time when I was a young teenager. Because I'm tight, like maybe just turned 13. Come home from school, and my dad is standing in the driveway, and he's like, "Son, I got a job for you." Shit, right? This usually means like feed cows, shovel manure, you know, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay," and he said, "Go grab your rifle." I'm like, ooh, I like the sound of this job. And he had a brick of 22. Now, this is important to understand culturally growing up in my house. On my 6th birthday, I got a 410 shotgun, single shot, break barrel. My 7th birthday, I got a Ruger 1022, 10 round rotary magazine. It's hanging up right in there, right? It's now my wife's rifle. She has decided that, 30 plus years of ownership for me was not good enough. It's now hers, right?
That checks out.
But that checks out, right?
That tracks.
But that rifle has a 10-shot rotary magazine. I was issued one bullet at a time. Go make a hit. And then, I don't know, half a year later, I got 2 bullets. And it was years before I was issued a full magazine for that gun, right? And you didn't get a full magazine until you proved you could shoot the 1 round that you had, and then the 2 rounds, and then the 3 rounds, so forth. And so my dad inadvertently was teaching me marksmanship, make the rounds count, right? Which is probably self-diagnosing right here. Probably why I'm a very impatient shooter with the carbine. Get the gun up and make hits.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I got you at the Showfire Games this year. Now that I got that figured out, you're done for.
We'll see.
Yeah, over.
Over.
If we're on
But,
carbines,
so
probably.
my dad handed me a brick of 22, 500 rounds. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
We're going to
it
war.
got serious, right? And he said, so we walk into the barn, and up in the barn, there was a loft, a hay loft, a big loft door at the end of the barn. And there were 2 back paddocks out there, each of which had a loafing shed or a run-in shed. Little 3 sides and a roof, and horses can run in there. And he said, underneath that shed right there, there's a groundhog. And he's got a tunnel that runs from here, about 100 yards up from here, into my garden. And he's been eating my garden, and I want him dead. And I want all of his friends dead. So, yes, sir. Sounds good. So I lay down prone in the loft with my rifle. I load a magazine, and I see a groundhog stick its head up out of this hole right at the corner of the shed. Wacha, sent around pink mist. And it falls back in the hole. And so I'm livid because I also used to get paid for shooting water rats out of the pond. But I had to have proof of life. And so I learned with the water rats, you don't shoot them right at the edge of the water because they roll back in the water and they sink. Yeah, show me you killed something, right? So I'd take my pocket knife and cut the tail off the rats and, hey, I shot 3 rats, you owe me $3. Cool. And so I shoot this thing, it falls back in the hole. I'm like, SOB, man. All right. Well, as I'm sitting there lamenting the fact that I lost this groundhog, woodchuck as other people call it, another one sticks its head up out of the hole. I'm like, oh, all right. And it kind of looks around, and I'm just laying there, flick the safety off, crossbolt safety on the 1022, push it off, I'm laying there, and it comes out of the hole, and it starts, there was a pathway in between the 2 paddocks, wide enough to drive a pickup truck, down to the barn, out of the back barn door. And it starts waddling, huge mamma jamma, starts waddling across the thing. So it's on the move, and I'm tracking it, and boom, I hit it. And these things are so fat, you can hear the rounds slap. It sounds like this every time the round hits it. And so I shoot this thing, and with a 22 body shot, and it starts waddling faster. I'm like, son of a bitch. And I emptied the rest of that magazine, 9 more rounds into that thing as it continued waddling. And it stopped almost all the way into the next paddock. was like, all right. Start thumbing in rounds into the Rotary magazine. Okay, cool. And here comes another one. And another one. And another one. And it was cool because me and my dad weren't always the tightest, right? Well, my dad had a blasting license, which was cool, right? So he starts coming out with all kinds of like incendiary devices, and we start smoking out gopher holes and stuff, and they're coming up all of it. I shot 52 of those bastards in 3 days with that 22. Gopher jihad, man. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. And the only issue was I had to dig the hole to bury him with, which was bullshit because we had a backhoe.
I'll learn you.
Yeah, I'll learn. Yeah, good job, son. Here's your $52. Dig a hole. Yep. And we also would take. So when we would plant the fields, seed the fields, crows, murders of crows, tens of thousands of crows would come in and just, upstate New York, not far from where you're from, these huge waves of crows would come in, and they'd land and they'd eat all the seed out of the field. 22s. And so me and my two buddies, Brian and Billy, we'd lay up in the loft with our 22s, and we got a sack of bird feed, and we dumped the sack of bird feed out in this field about 50 yards from the back of the barn. And all the crows would come in, and they're sitting up in the trees, they're sitting around, and then one would swoop down and start eating. And then another would swoop down. If you wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so, they all swoop in. Dude, fire for effect. We weren't even aiming. Just ba 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 as fast as we could shoot. And they'd all fly back up in the trees, and there'd be 10, 20, 30 dead crows laying there. And Billy, man, poor bastard, he had that Marlin tube-fed 22. So reloading that thing, you'd have to unscrew the cap, and he's like throwing shells in it and screw the cap back on. And me and Brian had magazine-fed 22s. So we'd reload. Dude, we must have killed 500 crows in like one day. And I remember I was so happy because my dad came out with a backhoe and dug a hole and pushed them all into the hole with a bucket. I was like, thank God, man. Burying 500 crows, bad move. So, yeah, 22. It has its place on the homestead. It's for varmint control. It's not for dealing with two-legged threats. So, what other questions we got?
It's not a one-round wonder.
What's that?
It's not a one-round wonder.
It is not a one-round wonder. Pistols are not one-round wonders.
No.
Dude, the myth of stopping power in a pistol, man. Pistols make bad people think about stopping what they're doing. Rifles make bad people mechanically incapable of continuing the bad things that they were doing. Those are two very different things. What's up, Mark Chase? Shalom, brother. First live stream in 3 months. I really missed the story time. What's up, Kentucky?
I think Mad Kel just went in the outhouse.
Yeah,
with
he
Booty
does
Hen.
that occasionally.
Yep.
You ever
and
shoot
he just
6.5
found
by
Booty Hen.
55 Swiss? I have
He
not.
went out.
That I know of. I don't believe I have.
I bet there's chicken in there.
I've heard good stuff about it.
She crashed, started making noise.
Oh, well, a 460 is not a typical, okay, auto loading handguns. 460 S&W Magnum, that's different. That's different. Is it legal to electrify my front gate? I would say, now I'm not a lawyer, but off the top of my head, yes, but I also think you're assuming some liability the next time the FedEx truck shows up
Yeah,
and you
better
kill
pre-order it
somebody.
daily.
Yeah.
So,
Right, like it should have a warning.
Yeah.
what is that fancy
Sounds like
5.56 ammo you use? Texas T. You can get it at freedommunitions.com. It's 55 grain Hornady AMAX ballistic tip, loaded by Black Hills in 223 Remington, and it is devastating on soft targets. It's absolutely awesome. 1/4 inch entry wound, exit wound the size of your fist. So yeah, it's effective. Now, unless you're shooting into the brain pan of a sheep, it dumps energy so fast. You get an entry wound into the brain pan, no exit wound, and it doesn't just like they don't fall over. It throws them into the dirt. I love it. Like it's instant lights out. Their legs just drop, man.
Another good cheap one, if you can get your hands on it, is Frontier. With Hornady hollow tips. They're 68 grain.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I've got some of those.
Yeah.
Yep. but they're harder and harder to find, like everything else.
Yeah.
So. What other questions we got? Just bought 200 rounds of the Frontier at Royal King. Nice. Front gate is a you do you boo question. I agree.
Yes.
I am not condoning the electrification of your front gate. Prepper survival skills, we love you back. Had a double surprise yesterday. My rock manual showed up as well as an IFAC from Refuge. God is great. Awesome, Thomas. That's awesome.
Those things are going out fast.
Yeah, well, that's important to point out. If we say it's in stock, that means it's under our roof. So, what's up, Niner? I need some serious rifle ammo. Yes, you do. I suggest you get it. I think 62 LAP has a place in setups for reasons. And then I also think that ballistic tip or good boat tail hollow point ammunition has its place in a ROL or SHTF setup for reasons as well. Yeah, you know, Brass Facts, which is a YouTube channel, Brass Facts, he's friends with Hoplafile, or however you say his name. Brass Facts has been putting out a lot of really good content lately, and he did a video on the arguments for and against civilian use of body armor. And it's a really good video. And I think one of the things to be aware of is, like, and most people miss this, especially civilians, and I'm not saying you shouldn't own body armor, I think you should own body armor. But the use case for body armor is not as broad as a lot of people think it is. And Brass Facts makes that point in his video. Like, if your plan is, well, it's SHTF now, I guess I'll put on some body armor, that means your tactics probably suck. That being said, getting shot in the extremities is the most likely thing to happen. And body armor doesn't protect your extremities. And hollow point or ballistic ammo from a rifle in the extremity can cause a lot of problems. Again, rifles have the capability, a much greater capability, to provide mechanical stoppages to the system that is a human body. Oh, Zeus Hefe, I've seen that. They've got 500 rounds of 62 LAP and 10 mags for $3.99. They did have, a couple days ago, 1,000 rounds of 62 grain LAP and 10 mags for $5.99. So that price has increased 25% in a couple of days. So. Good job, Bobo.
Every now and then they pop out.
I know, they get there. So, what other questions we have, people, in the chat? What's up, Kevin? Shalom. Good night, DL. Where can you get good quality plate carriers? We recently bought some and one already ripped. So a lot of people don't like this answer, but my go-to plate carrier that I use all the time, and I have HRTs, and I have Blackhawks, and I have Milsurp, and I have all kinds of stuff. Cry doesn't make anything that fits me. I'm outside of Cry's regs, apparently, and that's okay. I have a Condor Mop C plate carrier, and I've had it since I lived in Texas. So it's at least half a decade old, probably longer, and it works great. It works great. I have been unable to break that thing, and I have witnesses on this porch that can attest to the fact that I train in it. It's a real thing. I use it regularly. And it's not a terribly expensive carrier. So, yeah, the Condor Mop C fits guys who lift and or eat. Yeah, that's me. I do both. So,
Roger that.
yeah, I am not a skinny mini. So, are you doing a 50 live stamp golden bear patch when you hit that amazing plateau? That would be badass. That's a great idea, Glock 316. I like that. It's a good idea.
Oh, Thomas. That happened a lot.
Go back and watch yourself.
How much time do you think we have before SHTF? Oh, is that what you owe?
Yeah, that
Thomas?
was I owe Thomas.
I think you
Go back
have.
to the beginning.
I think you have from February 2019. That's what I think. Texas T, you don't think they make the Mop C anymore?
They do.
Uh-oh.
Pretty sure they do. I was on their website the other day. Shout out to Kentuckiana Gun Works. You're freaking awesome and you make great gun oil.
If they're cutting that down, it'd be very sad.
Is that the bottle you gave me?
Yeah. Yeah, he makes all of his stuff too. He's like from scratch, started
My
the whole
block is
process
on point
himself.
now.
Dude, he's a freaking good brother. He was at men's retreat. He's a good brother.
That is good stuff. I need to get some of that stuff.
Yeah.
He'll probably send you some, but I think I
I
have.
would
a
like
couple
to
spare
buy
bottles.
some.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need to just send it to me.
So let me ask you a question. What's the difference between the scriptures and NIV?
What's the difference between the scriptures and NIV? Well, the NIV is a translation of a translation of a translation.
Missing scripture for sure.
And it's missing scriptures and it's missing the content of the words for sure. The scriptures, so the scriptures was put out by the Institute for Scriptural Research, the ISR. So if that gives you any idea right there. Now, one could make the argument, you mean like the Federal Reserve that's neither federal nor has anything in reserves? Yeah, I get that. But these people, the Institute for Scriptural Research, they actually took, I believe it was something like 30 years to come up with this translation. They did a lot of really good due diligence on it. And what they did was they went back to the original source texts, and rather, depending upon the existing translations, they did their own translation, and then they had that translation inspected by myriad biblical scholars. And so the fullness of the words and the intention of the words are much closer to the original meaning in the scriptures than in a lot of these other translations of translations of translations. Do you think the Book of Enoch is a book that was removed from the Bible? I don't think that. I know that. That's a historical fact. It's part of the original 88 canonized books of the Bible. It's still included in the Eastern Orthodox Church to this day. It's also quoted directly in Jude, chapter 1, which is a joke because there's only one chapter of Jude.
And referred to more than 100 times in the New Testament.
That's correct. And referred to more than 100 times in the New Testament. So it's now what is considered a non-canonical text, meaning it's not part of the current 66 canonical books of the Bible. Shalom, Dudley.
Shalom!
What's up?
Dodo!
Yodel!
Yodel!
So, but the book that I would recommend getting for the Apocrypha, if you can, is a book, honey, right over there, the white bound book, down from the top. It's under The Reluctant Partisan, Volume 1 by John Mosby. I'm a book guy. I got books everywhere. I read books.
Lost books of the Bible. Let's
Yeah.
see if I can Google it.
Yeah, it's Googleable, just
Put it on
like
there,
you
bro.
are.
Put it on there,
J.A.
bro.
Dudley.
Google me.
This one right here, The Lost Books of the Bible by Joseph B. Lumpkin. And the reason I like this compilation of the 22 non-canonical books is because, oh, by the way, don't put this too close to a fire where you're making coffee one morning in the winter, because as it turns out, I'm not a smart man. These are held together with glue. And glue, this type of glue, reacts to heat, which is a byproduct of fire. So they might be non-canonical, they're also non-binded now. But there's a foreword that this guy puts into every book. So for example, here,
Ticks, bro.
the Book of Enoch, right? Here's the foreword, a part of the foreword on the Book of Enoch. He explains every book that's in here and the background upon it. Since any book stands to be interpreted in many ways, Enoch posed problems for some theologians. Instead of re-examining their own theology, they sought to dispose of that which went counter to their beliefs. Some of the visions in Enoch are believed to point to the consummation of the age in conjunction with Christ's second coming, which took place in 70 AD, the destruction of Jerusalem. This being the case, it should not surprise us that Enoch was declared a fake and was rejected by Hilary, Jerome, and Augustine. Enoch was subsequently lost to Western Christendom for over 1,000 years. Enoch's 70 generations, whoa bro, was also a great problem. Many scholars thought it could not be made to stretch beyond the 1st century. Copies of Enoch soon disappeared. Indeed, for almost 2,000 years, we knew only the references made to it in the Bible. Without having the book itself, we could not have known it was being quoted in the Bible, sometimes word for word by Peter and Jude. So, and it goes on from there. But my point is, the author, Joseph B. Lumpkin, does a phenomenal job in this book with the foreword to each book of the non-canonical text, explaining its veracity, authenticity, and its applicability to the existing 66 books of the canon. So if you're going to get the Apocrypha, I really like this one. And I'd like to point out, Yah works in mysterious ways. The first time I was exposed to this book was in the parking lot of the Essential Responder that you were role players at in Philly, where a guy came up to us, a brother, he was not a guy, he was a brother, came up to us, and he was like, "Hey Barrett, I love you, man. I don't have the money to take the class, but I drove down here. I borrowed my mom's car and drove down here because I wanted to give you this book. And this is not that book. I've since bought a half a dozen more of these. I have 2 of my own copies, and I give them away to other brothers because his book was filled with notes and tabs and the whole nine." And he was like, "Man, this book, this is the book. If you're going to read the Apocrypha, this is the book." And you're always kind of skeptical when you first meet somebody like that. You're like, "Okay, cool, man. Thank you. I appreciate the gift." But he was super genuine. Started thumbing through the book, looking at his notes, and was like, "Damn, this guy knows his shit. Okay, awesome. And the more digging I did, the more I was like, I got to get more copies of this book. Because the author does a great job of explaining. And I said all this to say this: Enoch, the book of Enoch, is still today, depending on what part of the world you're in and what your denomination is, it's part of the Bible. But there's other books of Enoch, 2nd Enoch, 3rd Enoch, that we know, historicity, we know that they're not contemporaries to the book of Enoch. They were written 1,000 years later or more, and they're included in this book, but the author goes out of his way to point out, hey, this is when we know this was written. We know that there's issues with this book because of XYZ. We've included it so that you have it as a reference, but the veracity of this particular book, 2nd Enoch, 3rd Enoch, for example, is not held to the same God-breathed standard of the book of Enoch.
Amen, brother.
So it's an awesome reference for the Apocrypha. And there are a lot of apocryphal books out there that are very, as Rogan would say, woo-woo. They're very woo-woo. They've got a lot of like bullshit spirituality in them, and they're not. It's not. Thanks, Dudley. I see you in the chat with the links.
This is what I do. I try not to do it while I'm driving, even though I'm still there dropping links.
We appreciate that. Do you want a chair?
No, I'm good.
Okay, there's more down at the Zebo if you need some.
That's too far. Remember, you just told them how far away the gazebo was.
Bless you, Glock.
That 22 wasn't going to work.
You can squeeze right there.
You mean sit on his lap? No, I'm good.
Also,
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
not
what
sure
this
that's
chair is rated for this particular section of the porch, but I don't want to find out. I know the porch will hold you, because I see this is another thing I realized about me. Like, I'm good at building foundations, and then I usually build the foundation of something, and then other people come along and build the remainder of it, like outhouse. Check.
You did that good?
Hey, how's your finger?
Okay. Touche. You got me.
You didn't see the foundation on the outhouse.
Hey.
You saw the foundation on the addition. I got one too, Roman. Do I need to bust out some pics from my time in the wind turbine field? Come on
Please.
now. Actually, I used to have a website up. My dad ran it. I don't think it's running anymore because neither is he. So.
That's a way to say that.
It's been a long
After-
day.
It has been a long
After Thursday.
day. It has been a long day.
People don't understand all the stuff that gets done around here, and all the hands that are putting to all the different projects.
Yeah,
It's craziness.
it is.
Yeah, there's so much stuff going on.
A lot of
People-
moving pieces.
people
A lot
don't
of
even-
sweat equity.
Yeah.
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 Equity.
That's what it takes, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Because they get another one.
Yeah. You need one more. Hey, is Liberty in here?
Yeah.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Liberty. Good night, Romans.
Here
Shalom,
it
brother.
is.
We're pushing the 3-hour mark. 2.5 hours anyway. What's up, Cole Cochran?
Dive bomb.
Cole Cochran's such a good name. I feel like I would definitely buy an album made by Cole Cochran.
Yeah,
you know what I
sure.
mean?
He just
Like,
slamming
that's classic
steel
rock.
string
It could
guitar.
be classic rock. It could be contemporary bluegrass. It
Yep.
could be country and western. It might be hip hop. I don't know, but I'm buying that album. You know,
Or he might do that in his spare time in A Lawyer by Day.
that's
snap.
or Cole Cochran for county commissioner. The alliteration, like it's a winner right there.
Winner.
What is liberty? Can only be a slave to one or the other. A Red Scout, it's an inside joke that you don't understand. You're missing all the context.
Yes, sir.
It's a whole person. Or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple
Yeah.
people.
Two are.
This person
Technically too.
divided.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Osmosis.
We can do that. It just takes 9 months. Good night, Montana Sky.
Yeah.
Good night, Hooter and Torah. I think it's so cool we've been doing this for 2.5 hours. There's still 458 people here.
Yeah.
Did they all
That's
hit
awesome.
the like?
I don't know. Dudley says
No, they did
hit
not.
the like button or he's going to kick you in your thigh.
Which you will not survive.
Which is unsurvivable. You've seen the footage of the bomb being dropped over Hiroshima, right? That's what it looks like when Dudley kicks you in the leg. So
That's the light kick.
I like that.
it's a light kick, yeah. If Dudley kicks you in the leg at full power, the world ends.
Yeah.
Don't stop spinning for just a
You want to talk
second.
about SHTF, bro? And as you're fading
But
out,
if it stops spinning, what happens to gravity?
Oh
oh my gosh! Don't get GKT11 fired up in this.
What do you-
chat.
What do you think of Black Rain Ordnance Bro A2? Is it a good gun? I think Black Rain Ordnance makes awesome stuff. I also think they should be open on Sundays. So the next time I happen to drive by there and be like, and fanboy out like, oh my gosh, it's Black Rain Ordnance. There should be somebody there other than the guy in the warehouse who refused to let us in. I don't know why. But I was like, listen, man, I know you have protocols, but I am Bear from the internet. You should let us in. And he's like,
I'm sorry,
dude,
Bear from the internet. No.
he's like, it's Sunday, and you need to stop peeing in our parking lot. And I was like, well, I'm gonna piss in this parking lot one more time, and you have an awesome day. We will see ourselves out of here.
You don't draw on me, and I don't draw on you.
Yeah. It's funny. We went to a gun manufacturer, and I think we had them outgunned. So
That checks out.
yeah.
Sounds about right.
I am so surprised by that.
Wow.
What's up, Dragon
Like
Shield?
when we go to church.
What's up, Miss Amy? Good night, Shannon B. It's like when we go to church. Yeah. Yeah, like our church is the wrong place to perpetuate violence.
We don't have a security team.
There's more of
We
us
are.
and we're better at it than you. The whole church is a security team.
When you look up at the tent where the kids are hanging out, and there's multiple battle rifles suspended.
Pretty much.
You're like,
Shavuot was funny as hell, man. There's like 2 rifles in every one of those sunshades.
yeah.
That was awesome.
I was like, hell
You
yeah.
gotta keep them cool.
Hey, they were powering the sheeperator.
That's true.
They
That's
work.
true.
It
A
is
Draco
like a
powered sheep marine.
I will buy
What
that.
does it taste like? Com block ammo?
Balaclavas and Comblock, you know what it is.
Such and such grain. Why?
Yeah.
That's funny.
This sheep tastes Russian. What's going on with us? Good night, Florida Man Prepper.
We're listening to this tonight.
Yeah, we are. We're listening to it now. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to call it a live stream. We've been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Y'all have a blessed evening. I will see you in the morning for the brief. And, hey, no fear. Keep doing the things.
Shalom!
Shalom. It's a must.